Dear people of Brazil, beloved Africans of the diaspora, fellow activists and intellectuals, let me recognize the Reverend Sergio Melo and the Azusa Institute team for inviting me to this important conference. Thank you, Brazil, for your interest in the conflict and sufferings of the annexed people of southern Cameroon's Amazonia, a former autonomous UN Trust territory in West Africa. My name is Samuel Ikome Sako, the head of the revolutionary government of Amazonia. It is characteristic of revolutionary politics for the enemy, in our case it is the government of Cameroon and France, to sponsor individual spoilers and splinters to diminish the strength of their opponent, and in our case attempt to obfuscate the fact that this conflict involves two different people and two different countries. There are lots of fake websites, misinformation, and fake groups online bankrolled by the Yaoundé and French agents just to counter our efforts, cover the truth, and undermine the legitimate authority over the southern Cameroon's Amazonia. However, true leadership in a liberation context like ours is not by title only. It is by legitimacy. And legitimacy has to do with the following and support a leader enjoys amongst his people. In this regard, I can tell you unequivocally that I am the most consequential leader of the annexed people of the Federal Republic of Amazonia since 2018. And our website is www.statehouseboya.org. According to the Norwegian Refugee Council, Cameroon, and in this case it has to do with Ambazonia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Burkina Faso, as of 2020, are the most neglected displacement crisis in the world. More than 50,000 civilians have been killed, and this is more than the Ukraine, Russia, and Israel-Hamas wars combined. About 5,000 of our people are incarcerated without trial by French Cameroon in their dungeons. More than 1.6 million internally displaced, and over 300,000 refugees in Nigeria, Ghana, Cyprus, and around the world. What's going on in Ambazonia is horrendous. It is ethnic cleansing. It is genocide. It's a humanitarian catastrophe and the worst abuse of human rights in modern times by the state of Cameroon. Some history. The Republic of Cameroon was granted independence on January 1st, 1960. Nigeria, our borders, our neighbors to the west, had their own independence granted on the 1st of October 1960. When it came to our turn in 1961, the post-World War II Cold War order decided that the southern Cameroons and Ambazonia be granted independence by joining either French Cameroon, independent French Cameroon, or independent Nigeria, even though we opted overwhelmingly for a standalone independence. We had our government, a head of state, a bicameral parliament, a functional judiciary, a police force, and functional institutions of state, departments of state. Britain told the United Nations then that we were too little and too poor to stand alone. But in reality, they feared we could fall into the hands of communist ideologues like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. We voted following their options to obtain independence by joining the French Cameroon in a federation of two states of equal status. The United Nations passed Resolution 1608 prescribing the process of joining the two countries to form a new country to be called the Federal Republic of the Cameroons. According to the Charter of the United Nations 102, such a union of necessity requires that both states sign a union treaty and deposit same at the United Nations. Only then can their individual borders be dissolved to form new borders for the new nation. Unfortunately, while our leaders were contemplating a union of equals, as mandated by the United Nations, the French Cameroon government, under the influence of the French, were bracing for annexation. So what was supposed to be our walk into freedom marked the beginning of our annexation and recolonization by the French proxy state of Cameroon. They refused to sign the Treaty of Union with us. They dissolved our government and parliament. They banished our institutions, and 11 years down the road, they fraudulently ended the United Nations mandated federation. Since 1961, the Cameroon regime instituted a system of apartheid, carrying out assassinations, incarceration, enforced disappearances, intimidations, exploitation, oppression, and systematic assimilation of our people of southern Cameroon and Ambazonia just to subdue us. They quickly realized that 80% of petroleum resources are in our land, and that Ambazonia accounted for 60 to 70% of the GDP of the Cameroon colonial state, even though we are only 20%, as they say, of the population of the colonial state. In 2016, Southern Cameroon's civil society all came together to request that the country either return to its original federation of two states of equal status, or we both go our separate ways. All hell break loose as the French proxy state was advised by France to declare war on us. Since then, Cameroon soldiers target and massacre our babies, our children, our women, our young boys in Ambazonia. They are doing so daily with machine guns, with bombs, with helicopter gunships. French Cameroon has withdrawn from all international attempts at mediation, whether in Switzerland or somewhere in Canada, preferring the military option to resolving a political issue. We are working hard to push the United States government, willing nations, including Brazil, and the African diaspora at large, to go beyond the inertia of mere statements of condemnation and force the bloody regime of Yaoundé to meet Ambazonia on the table to address the root causes of this war. We also need help to defend our people from being massacred by French in this proxy war of theirs, just for demanding our right to self-determination. And it is our right. Thank you very much for having me, and God bless you.
Cradled in the heart of Africa, precisely the Gulf of Guinea, is a story of resilience, a tale of a people unbroken by the torrents of conflict. This is the story of Ambazonia. Good evening, I'm Tao King, and we apologize for starting late. And you are tuned into Ambazonia this week, the premier beacon of truth and insight as we navigate the tempestuous waves of our nation's journey towards sovereignty. As the curtain gradually draws to a close on 2023, a year etched with the indelible marks of our collective aspirations and adversities, we convene here to engage in a soul-searching retrospective. The Amazonian spirit has been tested in the crucible of grinding 7-year odyssey for liberation, a corporeal testament to the mental that defines us. With the setting sun cutting long shadows over our lands, tonight's episode beckons with a solemn promise, a dissection of our undying pursuit for freedom. We are peering into the mosaic of our independence, unraveling the contribution of each patriot and the collective cries that rise above the din of conflict. Our narrative this evening takes an unflinching gaze at the unscrupulous Chris Arnold. Once the Secretary of State for the Communications and IT of the interim government, now dismissed. The canvas of our nation's chronicle demands the hues of truth. The hues of truth. Tonight, we invite him to inscribe his account, to reconcile his actions with the expectations of Amazonian hearts. Moreover, we turn our discerning eyes towards the wheeling mechanization of La République du Cameroon, how they attempt to frail the fabric of our civil resistance. Today, we neither mute our voices nor dull the pen of accountability. Those who tread the time border of betrayal will be unmasked in our quest to honor the fidelity of our cause. This episode will undeniably chart the waters of intrigue and inspiration alike, as we are graced with the augment of distinguished guests that you already know: Barrister Tim Beseha, Barrister Fru Johnson, SOS Sylvester Zama. The dialogue will fierce the narratives raw and the truths unveiled, all elements of vital and envisaging the future of Amazonia. So, as I ask you citizens near and far to linger in this shared space of contemplation and revelation, for those of you watching us via social media platforms like YouTube and Facebook, to continue sharing, do not spare yourselves the wealth of knowledge, the power of conversation awaiting you. We are standing on the brink of a dawn, the genesis of a brighter chapter for Amazonia. Remain with us. We will plunge into this vital discourse momentarily, anticipate revelations, expect sincerity, and prepare for a journey towards Amazonia as we yearn to foster. The stories unfolds further right after this brief interlude will be an exceptional manifestation of the Amazonian Restoration Forces who have just neutralized colonial talks in Bui and Ngoketunjia. Stay tuned with us for Amazonia this week. We will return to postulate together. Let's forge unshakable legacy of our land. I'm calling on all those who are watching us once again on Facebook and on YouTube to continue to share as we come back to enhance this conversation. Good evening, Barrister Fro,
Good evening,
Barrister
Paddy.
Team,
Thank you.
SOS Zama.
Good evening,
Thank
sir.
you all, gentlemen, and you're welcome to this special broadcast. I'd like you to greet our audience briefly so that we will begin with what is hitting on the day. We want to get down into Bui and to Ngoketunjia to find out the situation on the ground as SOS Zama gives to us a defense briefing of the week. Please just greet the audience. Maybe I should start with you, Barrister Fro.
Thank you, Paddy. Thank you for inviting us. Dear Ambazonians, another Saturday, another event of the week. We're here to discuss with you, to react, to interact with you as to what is going on in our quest for freedom. We thank you for tuning in. We thank you for listening to us. We thank you for what you represent and what all of us represent for our country, the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Southern Cameroons.
Amazing.
Thank you, Pat.
Barrister Mbesa might be disconnected. Why I try to connect him, let me hear from you, SOS. I'm grateful that you were on the way and you would have to rush back home to ensure that this conversation is a reality. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Paddy. Thank you for inviting me to this program again. I just want to say hello to Ambazonians far and near, in the diaspora, in the bushes in Ambazonia, in Kilewindi, in Dongamantum, in Furawa, in Bafut. I want to say hello to everybody. Hello to the neighbors in Tamulung. I hope everybody is doing fine. Well, this is another week where we have a lot to unbundle here in this program. And thank you, Patty, for bringing me in today to at least brief our people as to what is really going on this week or has happened this week in Amazonia.
Amazing. Fortunately, Barrister Mbesa is finally connected. Barrister Mbesa, please talk to us.
Thank you, Paddy. Thank you, viewers. Thank everybody. This is again another episode. But this episode is special. Special because of the time and the events that have happened before today. We're nearing Christmas and eventually nearing the end of the year. And so many things will happen for this and will require this education that will come to give every moment we are given the opportunity. So thank you once more. Home front, be encouraged. Times are difficult, but we're moving to the end of the journey. We're in the seventh year of this struggle, and all these type of similar struggles take at least 10 years. Liberia took 15 to get somebody elected. And so we are now in the seventh. Can we optimistically say that we're getting closer to the end? Yes. Are there signs for that? Yes. We'll discuss those things as we move on. Again, as we prepare for Christmas, Christmas is not going to come without bereavement. Christmas is not going to come without surprises. So don't be discouraged as we move on. Thank you once more.
Amazing. Right away, I want us to get details of what is happening at the home front with the Amazonian Restoration Forces. And I will crave our indulgence to be patient. Undaunted News has the details. Right after that, we'll commence our conversation.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Paddy, for handing the mic over to us. We have some breaking news here. Now, let's go and see what's happening in the local area where the ARFs are doing a lot. Today, the 25th of November, Laos Republic Cameroon terrorist stations at the Kumba Colonial Prison Yard received a rude awakening from the Buick County ARFs in a swift and tactical operation commanded by General Newsmen and General Malians of Zikwa local government area. Four Laos Republic Cameroon terrorist elements who were manning an illegal checkpoint around the Kungunga prison yard were instantly neutralized. These four elements are part of the new batch that just arrived in Bowie County some days ago. The Newman tax they just paid serves as a reminder to those left behind that they are in the land of no return. Now, let's get what the intels are from this month.
Well, more details to the report has it that the ARFs got intel on the Occupancy's illegal control post, where they terrorize and extort money civilian population, and the generals took with them their ARFs and laid ambush on the La Republique terrorizing forces that were at the check and neutralized all four. Well, after carrying out the successful mission, the ARFs all retreated, and a La Republique helicopter flew in from Bamenda back home. Well, the Bui warriors are once again calling on La Republique terrorist elements sent to Bui in Amazonia, as in general, to hand over their weapons to the nearest Amazonian Restoration Forces base and be given a safe
On voit bien le sac en dessous. Non, pas avec le sac là-bas. Parce qu'il y a les boyaux là-bas, donc j'ai ramassé ces boyaux comme ça. Et on met ici là. On met tout ici. Mettez ici, il y a le couteau là-bas. Mettez ici, on peut tomber. Les gars, on dit qu'on met ici une fois. Là où il y a les trucs là. Ça doit avoir le sac. Il y a encore comme vous avez envoyé ici.
Sincerest apologies for that break in transmission. Before that break, we were telling you about the success Buyu recorded today, and Buyu warriors are calling on all friends and well wishers, lovers of the sublime ideals of justice, freedom, peace, liberty, and independence to continue them so that they can continue to fight to free homeland. Meanwhile, in another development, a very related development, the deputy mayor of Balikumbat Council also got neutralized. Now, it was in a distressing town in Balikumbat where Mr. Pasi Christopher, the deputy mayor of Balikumbat Council, who was allegedly arrested by the ARFs about 10 days ago, got neutralized on the 24th of November 2023 around the boundary between Baligashu and Balinkumbit in Balikumbat local government area in Ngoketunjia County. All right, this is the reason why you need to draft and draft until you draft. All right, Mr. Cha, over to you.
Thank you for that updates there, Onye. Thank you very much. Sylvester Zama, you
Yes.
definitely should be excited with the images that are coming in from Ngoketunjia. We're getting some criticism anyway. We always criticize, even when we do the right thing. And Cameroon is trying to take it out of proportion, but that notwithstanding, the Amazonian Restoration Forces are seemingly ending the year with a lot of momentum. I'd like to start with you to talk to us.
I think this war, as it goes by every single day that this war progressive, the Amazonian Restorative Forces are getting more tactically aware. They are getting much more know-how in terms of utilization of weapon, utilization of cartridge to enemy kills. These numbers are ramping up for La Republic, and even those that are not dying in the field are dying in the hospitals or are dying home. Um, the thing is, the gentleman in the SDO or assistant deputy in Ngoketunjia has killed a lot of our citizens. He's picked up families, he's separated mothers from children, fathers from their children, and he's made many of them to be killed. And given that he's the head or assistant head of the military command in that area, he's a legitimate target that was picked up. And given that he was being interviewed and a word had gotten out that he has a tape that's revealing all the processes that La Republique has to do in our hometown, they wanted him. As usual, they always use our own people and kill them. And they make them appear as, okay, yeah, they had them, Amazonian restoration forces have them, and they killed them. No, we always try our most to have our citizens, to make them see justice, to get them see if they can have a redemption. We've done that with the other fund of, I think, in Balikumbat somewhere before, and we let him go. We did that with the fund of Bansa. We did that with the Cardinal. We are not out there to massacre people. That is not the role of the Amazonian Restorative Forces. But since La Republique does not understand anything about negotiation, it deals with the barrel of the gun, and this gentleman was caught in the mayhem when everybody was throwing bullets, firing bullets, and he was caught in the crossfire. Whatever happens, that's one enemy that's gone. We don't have to worry about him. We will worry about those that are remaining. And I hope they see this as a lesson. We are trying to show a lesson to our citizens that there is no reason to serve the enemy, because you will neither be taken away or salvaged by the enemy, nor be salvaged by your own people. At the end of the day, you're entering the mowing lawn, and they'll cut you down like this gentleman was cut down today. He has his family to cry, to mourn for him, but all his sins are only his, not his family. We are making our citizens to be aware of that. So for those people who are mourning for him, that serves a very, very important message for them. La Republique will dump you when you need me. La Republique cannot protect you. They can't protect you. They cannot. When they come in and say, oh, everything is done, there's no war in Amazonia, they come in armored cars, they come in personal protective equipment on them, they have guards. Who do you have to stand by you? Nobody. At the end of the day, you are by yourself. And we are asking our citizens, be aware, don't be taken like a fool. They've called us Anglophiles. Don't give them that validation.
That's amazing. There's no question to the fact that colonial talks or administrators or army in Amazonia are legitimate military targets. There are those who want to question the legality of what is happening to the deputy colonial mayor of Balikumbat. And I think I have the lawyers here to react to that concern. Let me begin with you, Barrister Fru.
Yes, Paddy. From the pictures we have just seen of the deputy mayor, it appears he was running. He tried to escape because he was caught in between somewhere. The bullet caught him somewhere between Bamukumbit and what village is that? And in Balikumbat subdivision, which means that he didn't die in detention. If he had stayed in detention as our restoration forces kept him, he would have been alive. But since he attempted to escape, and you can see the body, that's him there. You can see the body lying on the road. A bullet got him. That is permissible in war. So if our restoration forces have been taught the Geneva Convention, when somebody has already been caught, you cannot take away his life. But when he escapes and becomes a danger, he's a legitimate target. So that is all I have to say about him. Anybody who criticizes what happened in Bui is doing that because it's an enemy. Because it was in a battle. It was in a battle that the four were brought down. It wasn't a battle. No matter the state of the body, the pictures were quite gruesome, but they brought it upon themselves. It was a battle that ensured, and the restoration forces were too strong for them, and they got what they wanted. I cannot understand that these people know that Bui has become a very dangerous zone for them in this war. Ngoketunjia is a very dangerous zone for them in this war, and they openly try to operate. Look at that so-called deputy mayor wearing the Cameroon flag and moving very freely in a free Amazonian land like Ngoketunjia. That is tactless. Well, he has paid the price. And that is war. There's nothing we can say about that. There is no crime here. It's all war. As he was not killed in detention, I'm satisfied that he was a legitimate target as he attempted to run. The way the body is lying shows me that he was not. He was attempting to run away and become again another risk for the forces. So they took him down, and that was it. Thank you.
There are those who even question this catch and leave as irrationality during war. I'm getting to you, Barrister Mbesa. Cameroon does not arrest our fighters and release them, they arrest them and kill them. And then you have legitimate targets. There are still those who think that we should arrest them. Even though we've learned our lessons, we should arrest them and let them go. Barrister Mbesa, please.
I think Secretary Jama has said everything that I could have said, but I will expand, shape on it. See, at this point in time, during this struggle, anything wearing a Republic flag is a legitimate target. Because, one, what you are doing is provocation of the highest level. You are trying to show you one day that you are in control of people that you are not controlling. You are working for them. And so, where you were trying to run or you were caught under crossfire, if somebody fired at you directly, you are a legitimate target. And let them be reminded, all of them, these mayors and the other person working for Yawundi, that while you are there, putting your life at risk, the commanders, the dues, and all those other people with authority, they are going to come there in gear proof bullet, but you have nothing other than your bare hands and your bare chest. So why are you helping the enemy to fight a war that you will not win? Eventually, at the end of this struggle, they will go back home, and you will have nowhere to go if you're still alive. So that act of defiance by itself, trying to show our legitimate forces that they are not there, that you are the one in control, calling yourself mayor or even DO, but the DOs are even different type because they are posted there by someone else. You expose yourself to danger, which is legitimate danger. If I were an ARF, I would not even believe in catching to release, because catching to release has come to be associated with bribery, with abduction. Because you catch him, you ask for money, they will give, then you release the guy, which is not what we want. If you're just catching them to go and keep them for the pleasure of keeping and releasing them, what is the essence? You catch them, you feed them, you protect them, then you release them to go away and continue where they are, where they left. So our legitimate ARMs should not catch to release. If you have to be caught, you pay the price. There's no need risking yourself, risking your own lives to catch somebody, protect him, defend him, and then the next day he comes to show you a hideout for his enemies to kill you. What is the sense in that? Doesn't make any sense at all. So if I were a mayor, and I'm sure this has happened in other parts of Amazonia, some of them have literally just left the place. They've abandoned the office. If you are a mayor, nothing says that a mayor should not be an internally displaced person. Nothing says that a mayor should not be a refugee. You move out. Don't put your life at risk for purpose of pleasing Yaoundé. That will do nothing for you. If they come and give you 1,000, they have 9 of the 10,000 they gave him to give you. So you are putting your lives at risk for nothing. Again, our legitimate ARFs don't cash to release. If you must cash, eliminate. As simple as that. Because you are releasing the person to come back, show where you were hiding, and their partners will eliminate you. You put your life in double risk where you cash release. Either cash,
Now, Barrister Mbesa, I want to stay with you on that. You have no worry about what the Geneva Convention stipulates in that regard. So I quote, if you must catch to eliminate. That's a very strong statement. Before we move into Bui, I would like you to explain in depth the rationale behind that.
Now, the Geneva Convention does not say what you're saying. It is not somebody you have arrested. It's not an enemy soldier you have arrested who was surrendered. If an enemy soldier surrenders, puts up his hands, you don't have any reason to kill him or her. Because that
Yeah,
time, that soldier was surrendered, giving up his own arm. It's not a source of danger to you. But a mayor that we're talking about, who is trained the camps, passing through the footpaths, is not covered there. He's trying to spy on you. He's coming for you for them to see where you're hiding and go and report to their own bosses. And in any case,
yeah,
we teach the Geneva Convention to our fighters. But that does not mean that you carry the Geneva Bible in your pocket as you go to the war front. Do what you can. But again, those mayors and those civil people who are infiltrating your own camps, who are infiltrating your own areas of influence, are not soldiers. If a Republican soldier were caught, he's surrendered. He's no longer a danger to you. But that guy is a black leg. Black legs are worse than those who are carrying arms. So if you must catch such a person, is a legitimate target for elimination. And again, this is Amazonia. I'm sure most of our camps, we don't have the facilities to keep them. We don't have a place to keep them and release them as war prisoners. Yaoundé has been killing us. There are prisons in Douala, there are prisons in Yaoundé, in Boya, Bamenda. How many people have they captured and kept as prisoners that they will exchange tomorrow? Nobody. Any of us that they see, they kill. So why do you want the game to be different? The Geneva Convention don't apply in the moon, they apply to human beings. Will you say that the Israelis who are supported by the Americans, you don't know about the Geneva Conventions? When they're bombing down hospitals in Gaza? They knew they were violating the law. I know that they did it. I'm not saying they should do that. I'm just giving you the example that look, all that thing of Geneva Convention is good, but it must be applied in the context of every war. In the present context of Ambazonian war of struggle, the stronger party, Yaoundé, has never taken any of our own people to keep. Once they suspect you to be an Ambazonian supporter, an Ambazonian fighter, you are eliminated. No question asked. Where is Wazizi? What did Wazizi do? Just for talking with it. They eliminate you. He's dead. They didn't even give back his body to anybody. Convention apply? Of course. Have they applied? So my sisters fighting, apply the Geneva Conventions, but not at the risk of your own life. Because when you let that guy go, whether you're caught, you're risking your own life, you come back. He will come back with the military to show where you kept them, to show the track that you passed to catch him. So that's what it is. Like it or not, that's what it is. And again, do the Geneva Convention apply all over the world? They do. But do they apply in every circumstance? Why is Gaza being bent down like that? Is it because the Americans who support the Israelis don't know the Geneva Convention? The Americans are the greatest human rights respecters in the world. They do that. They bend the hospitals, kill the people and the children who are there. Because they think they are a danger to them. Because a rocket came from Gaza and landed somewhere in Israel. Everybody the suspect was on the path of the rocket must die. And they have died. Thank you.
Okay, let's get back into Boy. That's an exciting story. Very exciting. It is clear to us that the Ngoketunjia Boy axis is fast gaining some grounds, and Ambazonians could be proud to say that the war in that sector of or that section region or two counties of Ambazonia may be fast approaching its end. Sylvester Zama, please.
Well, it's a common story. There's an audio that's going on the social media where this soldier who had been posted in Amazonia, somewhere in the northern zone, for 3 months, and he's saying that he has a maximum of 6 months to build himself a three-story building. And anybody who is not able to do that in 3 months working in Bamenda is a fool. that he's busy. He's gonna get all the money, he can extort as much. If he has to kill to get it, he'll kill it. Nobody's gonna ask him any question. All he needs to attack any person he's killed, an Amber sympathizer or an Amber fighter. That's the kind of cavalier attitude these guys have. These are not soldiers; they are all thugs. They're out there to extort. They're out there to maim. They're out to kill, for their own private interest, not even in the interest of the unnamed country, La Republique. They do this every day in Bui. Yesterday they had a station that was manned in Bui, and it was an illegal stop where they were stopping, making controls, and taking people out and taking their Momo money from their Momo accounts and all whatnot. And our ARFs were informed about that, and of course, they had to protect their citizens, and they went and they did what they must do. They had to take out these 3 or 4 people who were there mounting the base. No matter what we do, I want to make people to understand that we do not have any joy killing anybody. That's not the role. We are doing it because of it's an existential threat to our own people. People have been burned in their houses. Mothers have been raped. Fathers have been burned, killed, shot wantonly. Children have been taken out of their bedrooms and shot in the streets. So we are doing this because we must survive. And that's the only way we must do it. And we are not going to relent. We are not going to have anybody who has that audacity to ask us, why are we doing this? I would like for them to spend one night to sit next to a mother and explain to a mother who has run away and let the son be shot. They were running together with the son, and the son was shot, and the son said, "Mama, keep going. Don't stop. I'm dead. Just keep going." I want them to sit and listen to these women talk to them about their children, or to experience what they've experienced. We must do what we have to do. I don't see why it's done everywhere around the world. We have to fight. We have to fight for our existence. And there's no question about it. If we have to kill, you kill. There's a time to kill, like they say in the Bible, and a time to laugh. And this is that time to kill. The time to laugh will be after we reach Boya.
It is strange to know that anytime we want to show images like these, we have Facebook blocking us, not wanting us to show anything in this regard. It's a measure of concern. It's a concern for us. We're having Facebook blocking our page just for highlighting those images, and that's why I'm just explaining that to Amazonians to give you the reason why sometimes we have the images and we just cannot broadcast live on the barrister team. It's a media warfare as well. Barrister Fru, you would agree with me, like you always say, that Bowie is already capturing the land to keep, because
Yes.
are safer in Bowie more than anywhere else in Amazonia.
Yes, Paddy. Bui and Ngoketunjia are doing a marvelous job. We are at war, and the enemy has already taken away more than 50,000 of our people. And our forces are doing a marvelous job taking away the enemy, killing the enemy. That's what war is all about. And the unfortunate thing is that La Republique of Cameroon does not give a hoot about their soldiers. They send you there, you lie, you die, you lie, you come back. Well, I only hope that we can combine this killing with also taking away the structures that house the stocks from La Republique of Cameroon. We have to move, we have to progress to taking down those structures. Because Bui, as far as I know, is virtually liberated. But as long as a structure is still standing and there are people inside and there are equipment inside, that is a legitimate target for the Bui warriors. I hope that they are making plans to make sure that Tobin is liberated. What do I mean by that? The structures that house these stocks should not be made to stand. The equipment that they use should be decimated or taken. But having said that, I believe that Boy is on his way or he has already been liberated. Same thing with Ngoketunjia. And anybody or any structure that is still standing anywhere in Ambazonia is a threat and a legitimate target for our forces. Our forces now should begin to target those structures. There is no reason why La Republic of Cameroon should still be allowed to work, go to work, sit in an office, write rubbish, and make plans to kill our people. Those structures are equally important as killing the soldiers. I'm not saying that killing soldiers is not part of it. It is an integral part of it because we are at war. But as we kill, we should follow up and take away the structures so that they don't repeat themselves and come back. Anybody who doesn't want those type of pictures to be shown does not know about war. If you saw the Vietnam War, the Viet Congs, you saw American soldiers suffer the same casualties just like the Viet Congs. This is the war casualty. We have no quarrel with that.
This is just a media conspiracy.
Yes.
Our pages restricted from such images, but you have news houses like Wayon forecast every day very graphic images of war in Gaza and different places, and they will simply block us every time we want to talk on things like this.
I think
it's an international conspiracy against us, but that will not stop us from doing what we have to do. The world must know what is going on. The world has a right to know what is going on. And if you come and kill 50,000 people of our people, and we are fighting, we are defending ourselves, and we kill you, we are at liberty to show the pictures. That is war. I mean, it is not one person going to kill somebody. That's the work of bullets. And anybody who is trying to block us on Facebook or whatever because of pictures like that is a part of an international conspiracy against our freedom quest. That's all I have to say about that.
Yes, Ambazonia, for those of you who are watching us on Facebook and on YouTube, I'm calling on you to keep sharing. We're going to open the phone lines, especially before we get into questioning Mr. Arno on some of the things that he should be accountable for. But before that, there are those who believe, Barrister Mbesa, that the war is getting to a phase where we should consider actually taking out every colonial administrator, because the representation, MPs, SDOs, mayors, loyal to Yaoundé in Ambazonia, is simply saying that Cameroon still has sovereignty over that land, and Cameroon is using that for their propaganda and diplomacy to tell the world, listen, I am still in control, I can handle this. We still have colonial administrators or dogs roaming around very freely, almost all across our national territory. And some of them even have their own Ambazonia fighters. You have Belamuki that was bluffing and saying some stupid things in Boya. There are many of them you can count. Do you think there is more that we have to do, or we have to be more strategic in now targeting and making them to understand that they are military targets? Because our people are are being emotional, maybe because of blood relations or family ties or personal relations with some of these individuals, and it is jeopardizing the entire war and our argument. Pastor Mesa, please.
Uh, yes, but this is where I take off. You know, uh, I've said this before. The war for liberation of Amazonia is not going, the success will not be dependent on whether all the 13 counties, the 61 LGAs fight the war at the same time. Now, the war can be fought and won in one county if the cost of the war, for example, just in Ngoketunjia and Bui, becomes unbearable. Not just the money. They send their soldiers there, their colonels, they're taken out. That it takes years to train a colonel. It takes years to train a general. They're not going to say, well, they've killed them all in Ngoketunjia or Bui. He will remain a man. They will pack out. They will pack out. So, Ngoketunjia, the whole war may be dependent on you. I'm not by this saying that I discourage all the other 61 counties, 13 counties and 61 AGA. No, you can fight, and you should fight everywhere. But where there's concentration of forces, of energy by the enemy, let us focus there and make them feel the pain. And then, to your last question, you know, we'll be making a mistake. Blacklegging, blacklegs, spies didn't start today. Blacklegs are your own people who betray you, and they fall in the category of the Mbela Muki and many others. They are not your friends, they are just your enemies. And so I'm not sure that the Defense Department has told somebody anywhere that leave the duos, leave the administrators there because they are not our target. Now, they have not told us. If they have not gone, if they've not been sent away, by design is a mistake. You don't need to go too far. Go and learn this lesson from the BLM, and from the BLM, I can tell you this with emphasis. There is no administration in the BLM. There's nobody there. The Red Dragons don't need permission from anybody for the duo to escape. You didn't even need Yawande to transfer him. You know that sure he said there, you'll be dead. And you packed. And the rest of them packed all out. If they do anything, they do it from neighboring town, Cham, or somewhere else. So make the place ungovernable in whatever method you can. Don't deceive yourself to think that, well, you are forgiving this one because he's a mayor, he's a native. You are forgiving this one because, no. A mayor who generally is a local person is speaking your dialect is an enemy. Because as I've just said, he's the very guy who will come and say this is a footpath. Nobody from Yaoundé knows the footpath in any village, unless he's a villager. So take them out. We don't need permission to take them out. And I remember these were taken, folders were taken out in India. Nobody sought permission from anybody, from the presidency of the government of Amazonia. They say, oh, let us take this administrator out. And I said this 2 weeks ago. Have those people been replaced? No. That's how they lose the war. Those offices are empty because they make the people who go there feel the pain. They make the future people come in there realize that going there is putting your life in danger. And that's how we win the war. So don't think that if Mr. I don't know how true it is, if Mr. Okala Belay, who is the governor in Boya, stays in Douala, Olele Afrik, who is the governor in Bamenda, stays in Bunda, because they like it, because the ground is too hot for them. It will make hotter in such a way that they will not even be able to drive from Douala to Boya or drive from Bunda to Bamenda to do the work. That is, you have the largest to do all that. All those people are legitimate targets. Your real legitimate targets are not the soldiers with the guns. No, because they are deployed there. If they don't come, the prayer will be dismissed. But the people who are giving the orders, who are deploying them, who are directing them, they are the first enemy on the line. They are the first enemy for you to challenge. And so, let the war be fought. Let us not deceive ourselves again The war for Ambazonian freedom can be fought and ended in 1, 2, or 3 counties. It need not be in every county, but if it is able to be in every county, so be it. But if it is concentrated on Bui now, yeah, what is the reason, for example, why they went to Obiako and kill people? Nobody was killing them there. That's mark of frustration. They cannot even kill an ARF in Bui, Ngoketunjia. So it doesn't make the ground hot for them. Any of them who they bring down is as good as any other one, as long as he's carrying the uniform, as long as he's carrying the gun to fight you. So
As a man,
that's how,
go ahead, please.
over to you.
Sorry for that. Go ahead, please. As a man, you are shaking your head. It would appear apparently that you agree with Barrister Mbesa, but there are those who argue that the pressure is already getting too much on Ngoketunjia and Boy, and perhaps we can strategically target the enemy from different parts. And they want Manu to gain more force. They're questioning why Victoria, their argument, the landscape, and so on, Muyenge, Kondo Titi, Nzian, which is the hub of their interests. Barrister Fru even suggested that for economic sabotage, that was what he suggested during our previous conversations. For the purpose of economic sabotage, we've got to make Ndian particularly very ungovernable. Do you think there is more that your office and the Amazonian Restoration Forces on the ground would have to do to make sure that not just Lele Afrique, not just Okala Belai in Boya, but every colonial administrator or talk in Amazonia should find themselves running not to live in our homeland? Instead of them calling our chiefs in meetings and threatening or abusing or assaulting them, like Bella Moki was doing. I'm talking to you, Ezra Zama.
All these people you're talking are not living in Amazonia. They are living somewhere else and running into Amazonia and having a 10, 15, 20 minutes conference with our chiefs. It's rather pitiful that our chiefs would leave their palaces and go sit in front of a young person who does not even understand their cultures. But this war is being fought in every sphere of Amazonia. Tactically, it's a whole different battle in the coastal area, in the urban areas than it's in the northern zone, in places like Lebialem or in Manu. We have different assets that we deploy, and these things sometimes it may take a month or two. There's always a lag time, and there's still war going on there. It's not that there's no war. The fact that people are sleeping at home now does not necessarily mean that the war has ended in Victoria. There's war going on. It's been going on in different parts of the southern zone, in Meme, in Dian, in Fako. Yes, I know people have complained a lot that everything seems to be normal in Victoria. They are organizing film fest. They are organizing soccer tournaments in Victoria. Well, we are not telling a lot of people what we must do or what we are planning to do. It's a war zone, and sometimes the enemy, you go where the enemy is concentrating its forces. Once you move, they move. You have to re-strategize. It's the Victoria area is full of Manowo Bay and all those other military installations that are there. But yeah, it takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it may take a while of planning to be able to muster all the manpower and the equipment to get there. But I still want to tell our citizens that Victoria is not a foregone conclusion. It's not a chasse gardée de la République du Cameroun, like they say it. It's not. It's still an Amazonian territory. Their time is short on that territory as it is. The time for the battle is coming for Victoria, and I want everybody to be assured of that. We cannot fight the battle at the same speed and at the same magnitude in every four corners of the republic. If you will understand, La Republique is putting a lot of its concentration, a lot of its armed soldiers in the northern zone because it's a much more resistant part of the country. In the southern zone, there's still some tolerance, and it's just a question of intolerance of people like Moja Moja, Belamuki, that is instigating people to attack ARFs, and they some sort of don't have that support, total support of the population to give them cover. But the war is still going on, and we are going to fight even in Victoria. That time is coming where we are not going to come in the night, or we will come during the day and fight like men, eye to eyeball, and get these people out of Victoria. It's not a foregone conclusion, please.
That's amazing. You okay, Vice Fru, please.
Yes, I want to say that let's not give the impression that only Ngoketunjia and Bui are fighting. No, I listened to a voice audio from our spokesman in Manu this week, and it's very troubling. La Republique BIR, well armed, is in the forest. Is in the forest in Oyomojok, killing our people, going to our villages. Some of those villages, they are in the forest and so on. They go, they kill, they take some prisoners, they make you to become a blackleg overnight, and they force you to show them wherever you are. That is happening right now after Agwopo. After what happened in Agwopo, La Republique has also deployed a lot of forces into Manu. And our restoration forces have been working day and night since more than 2 weeks now. And we should bring that to limelight and to say that even in the southern zone, our people are fighting and fighting day and night. If the forces in Manu do not fight now, before we open our eyes, they would have wiped out all our villages in those forests. The forces in Oyomojok are doing a good job. They are responding. They are laying ambush. We are at guerrilla warfare. We are not a conventional military force. This is guerrilla warfare, and they are doing their best to ensure that Manu is protected. And Manu has been fighting just like Ngoketunjia and Bui and other and Donga and Manto. They have been fighting. Even in Fako, like Esoda Isama just said, Fako is not as quiet as people think. Because our restoration forces, even though they have been infiltrated, they have been paralyzed by some other obscure forces, they are still doing what they have to do to protect the homeland. And I want to bring this to the focus of this discussion, that they should know that in Manu, in Yomojok now, in the forest, La Republique forces, the BIR forces are there, well armed, and they have been killing our villagers, taking some prisoners, and making some to go and show them where they say, show us where the restoration forces are. And where, of course, where would they see the restoration forces? They should also know that that forest belongs to our people. Our people know the forest better than them. So the battle in Manfe is on. That's just to show you that the fighting is not only in Ngoketunjia, it's not only in Bui, it's in Manu, it's in Dian, it's in Ngoketunjia, it's in Libialem, and it is in parts of Bafako that it's not the people we don't know very much about, but it is going on. So let's not make it look like, okay, when we liberate one county, it is done. No, our people are all fighting, but the degree at which they fight is a different story. Because, okay, take Fako for example. La Republique has brought in all kinds of forces into Fako. There's the Man Webe their major base. There are military garrisons in Tico. You call the amphibious unit. In Boya, you have a war contingent. In Victoria, you have all this contingent, and we are gorillas, and we can only do what we can do. But our people are doing the best they can. So
Yes,
this fight is
Comrade.
not over. This fight is not over. It's going to be is continuing, and our restoration forces are up to the task. And La Republic is smelling the coffee. But they don't give a hoot about the human beings, because what has happened in Bui, it should have raised a red flag for the Republic to think that, oh, no, we have to do something about this. But they are not bothered.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I cannot
Barrister,
you want to
I think,
comment?
yes, please. I think we want to have people understand that this war actually did not start in the northern zone. This war started in, I think, Dadi, went to
In Manu.
Kwakwa, went to Emmanuel, and went to all over the burnt down villages and homes in all those areas, in Kwakwa, Bafia, and all those areas. So this war has been going on, and it hasn't relented. Yes, we at one time it was very resistant fighting in the BLM and other places. Yeah, that's just the nature of the war. Once the enemy changes tactics, we have to change tactics. If they want to demobilize in one area, we demobilize in those areas. We are going to fight them
Correct.
where they are. And I think it's not we are not doing everybody a credit that, or since there's silence somewhere, it means there's nothing war. We are always at war awareness. These soldiers are not sleeping. The fact that they are not gunshot hurt does not mean that things are not happening. I can tell you that a lot of fishes swim under the current. They don't come to take air at the same time.
That's amazing. We're going to conclude on this by talking about the ghost town. By Stambesa, if you want to speak, you might also contribute on the ghost town. It's a major concern right now that Cameroon is losing the war, and they're trying to use our own against us, which has been their constant strategy. And the ghost town is one of the things that they are targeting, intimidating lecturers and students to organize lessons on Mondays. That's a major concern. As you comment on that, Barrister Mbesa, I want you to talk on that briefly. Right after that, we'll look at some aspects of diplomacy at wartime. And then we will conclude the program where we'll have the engagement of the public by presenting some questions to Chris Ann. We want to bring to the limelight, we want to refresh the minds of Ambazonians who are watching us on some of the things that this individual did a few months ago, some of the things that he said, and how today he is even unapologetic as a flop. Barrister Mbesa, please.
Yes, let me talk about ghost town. But before I get there, let me just clarify something or add to what President Salt said with Secretary of State. See, we Ambazonians, some of us, our critics among ourselves, don't even understand this war themselves. I'm not sure any of us understands the war more than the enemy. Who knows that every inch of land in Ambazonia is a war front? Otherwise, how would they explain that they're holding a security conference, say in Boya, where they claim there's no war? They're inside that hall with Belamuki and the rest. And there are armored cars standing outside there. If there's no fear of any war, why are they guarding themselves with armored cars right inside the city of Boya? From Boya to Victoria, it's just about 20 kilometers, that's 15 miles. Kamisambela Buki drive from Boya to Victoria without a military escort. Not to talk about the prefect, the governor. So they know that every inch of Ambazonia is a war front. They can meet it anywhere. What they are doing in the Umojok, in the bush, is not war. No, they are making the economy of war. When they go there to arrest a poor farmer, show us amber. It's not because they want you to show him the amber. They want you to pay a bribe and you'll be set free. Because, to the best of my knowledge, our amber boys don't go into the forest and be a big camp and sit there where you're going to say this is the camp here. You will not find anything like that. So those people are arresting people in Umojok or anywhere else. for to go and show you where Emma is. They are just trying to get money from you, to extort money from you. How many people that they have arrested have shown them Amber? How many of them are still in detention? They've all been set free because they gave a bribe. They gave a bribe somehow. And then let them go. They are extorting money from people. Now over to the ghost town. What the Ruple is doing is not new. They will do everything to end the ghost town. They will do everything they can to end the ghost town. But I guess by now, 80, if not 90% of Ambazonians spread all over Ambazonia everywhere know the importance of the ghost town. You can force him to open the store today, Monday. By next Monday, he will close it. So how many soldiers, how many messengers is the council going to engage to sit on every store every week to be sure that it's open? They do all that, again, for the purpose of money. Because when they can't log your store, you can't give them 50,000. There's no receipt for that. If there's a receipt for that, it doesn't go into any treasury. They steal the money. So they're farming money from people using the ghost town. But shall they end the ghost towns? No. Why? Because the ghost town, we did not declare ghost town, and people realize it from the mind, from their own spirit, that we have to do something serious. And they have taken this as their own gospel truth. That until we do this, when they are doing the ghost town, they are not killing anybody. They are locking the stores for which you have paid a license to operate. What the council is interested in is the license that you pay. What if you pay the license and then you never open your store for the whole year? How does that affect them? So it's a moral stupidity that they are doing. I'm sure they will not stop the ghost town. By thinking that they would stop trying to stop it, it's a mistake. They will do everything, including bribing, to try to stop it. But they will not stop it. They are the kicks of a dying horse. They will not stop ghost towns. Yes, they can go and stop ghost towns in Tico. They're not going to stop ghost towns in Boya. You can go and stop it in Boya. They will not stop it in Moyoka. So it's like trying to carry water in the basket. It will spill somewhere else. They're wasting their time. Ghost towns are people know. Those who went to school, who did not go to school, farmers, ordinary hawkers in town. No, that is the lynch point. That's where the power lies. So they will not stop ghost towns. They will not do it, but don't expect them not to try. They will do everything to try to stop it, but they will not stop it. We are now in the 7th year. If the war is 7 years old, ghost towns are already 8. So they are wasting their time. Let our people be encouraged. It's not a lockdown. It's a ghost town. One day, if you don't sell on Monday, you sell on Tuesday. If you don't sell on Monday, you sell on Wednesday. So locking up your store for one day is not what is going to cripple your market value. It's a symbol which has been recognized by Yaoundé. It has been recognized by their sympathizers. It has been recognized by their allies that this is a sign that the population, not the terrorists who are being terrorized by the terrorists, no, by every single Amazonian, young and old, men and women, they respect that from within themselves. So they will not stop it, but they will always try to stop it. They will do everything. They will give people bribe to stop it, but they will not succeed. Thank you.
But SOS Ambassador Ghana, I want to ask very briefly so that you add to this so that we can move on. What do you think should be done to those who are Ambazonians and who are provocatively defying the ghost downs? Let me start with you, SOS Amma. What should be done with such individuals? Either business people, organizations, institutions, individuals. What would you say should or the action that should be taken to correct these individuals or group of individuals?
Well, I think we've been in this situation for the last. I think we are entering the 8th year of this war, and the ghost towns precedes the lawyers. When I think Deacon Tassan had said, we will see on Monday. who runs southern Cameroon, if it's Yaoundé or it's the Anglophone system. That has not stopped. That thinking hasn't stopped. Anybody who thinks that they can defile and decide to disobey the rules of shutting up on this day is doing it at their own peril. We are going out. We are enforcing these rules. You may lose your stores if you think you want to keep your store on that single day. You will lose everything. And for those who are going around and paying bribes to come back to open their stores, we will ask every other things. I think eventually, if this thing continues, we will extend it to Tuesday. If they cannot accept Monday altogether, we'll accept it on Tuesday and make those days rolling days and just call it on the next days or unannounced or 24-hour announcement for those lockdowns. This lockdown, in fact, on Monday, they call Country Sunday. To be honest, anybody who thinks that they can bully people to end it, it's a waste of their time. They will come back over and over and unseal those stores. And I want every trader, especially our Nigerians, they are being blackmailed to open their stores in Kumba, in Meme, in Tico, and all whatnot. But you remember, you owe us a debt. We safeguard you, we protected you when there was a war in your country. We are not asking you to violate our rules. We are not taking nothing from you. We are asking for every trader, every proprietor of a school or an enterprise, please stay at home. Take some time off. Do all your selling. If you want to sell on Sunday, that's up to you. We don't stop you from doing that. You have 6 days you can do your business. But if you think that you have to do something, it's sacrilegious to do that on a Monday. And the consequences are dire. La Republique has drawn the line, but we will surely cross it, like our brother Joseph Weber said. Nobody draws a line on Ambazonians and we'll stand there. We will go through that line. La Republique cannot define where we go from here. They lost that privilege. We gave them that privilege 8 years ago. They never took it. They thought they were going to get it through the barrel of the gun. They said they were going to defeat us in war. And we are going to see who is running Ambazonia on those Mondays. And I'm sure we are doing that. They are not going to be able to do that.
Mr. Fruit, briefly, please.
Yes. After 7 years of war, after 7 years of ghost town, La Republique has suddenly realized that they have lost. They have been told, both from the United Nations and other high places in the international community, that you are not in control of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, the Southern Cameroons. You are not in control because ghost towns are still going on and there is nothing that you can do to stop it. They were told that, and now what they are doing now, trying to torture people, forcing traders to open their shops and so on, the international community is taking note of the fact that they are now working up to the reality that they are no longer in control of the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. And I want to add something. The fact that you defied the ghost towns, which is a signal, which is a sign of the defiance, a sign of resistance for the past 7 years, you are committing treasonous offense against the Southern Cameroon people. We don't have any power of enforcement right now, but there will be, at one time or another, after we get our freedom, there will be accountability. But for the meantime, like SOS has just said, if you open your shop, I am talking about everybody, not excluding foreigners or Ambazonians. You open your store on a Monday, you risk losing it because our restoration forces have been given strict orders to enforce the ghost town. And that is our sign of resistance for the last 7 years. Until we arrive where ghost towns stay in place. And like my colleague Barrister Mbesa says, you can do nothing to stop ghost towns. Last Monday, the FDO Paco went to Victoria and they had a pushback from the traders. The question is, if I lose all what I am selling, I am selling right now in my store, are you going to give it back to me? I think you should solve the problem rather than coming to lock my store. I have a right to lock my store. I'm the one losing money on Monday. What is your concern? They had a pushback in Victoria, and that is where it died. The man of Tico just ran away. The mayor of Tico did not do anything because our activists gave a complete description of where he lives, how he moves, and where he goes. Now he knows that he is a legitimate target. So he did not even bother to go down on that Monday to try to steal stores in Tico. So the attempt is there, but it's not working. And the world is now saying that La Republique is desperate. They are desperate. And my message to them is that you have lost. Ghost towns will stay until you pull back, go to your country. We have our own country, and we can talk. For now, ghost towns stay in place. I thought that they were going to do something on Monday, but they didn't succeed to do anything on that Monday. After all the noise and so on and so forth, all the administrators, Okala Bilai, coming out and with Mbela Moki talking rubbish, well, we are going to do this, we are going to terrorize the terrorists, and so we thought that they were going to enforce ghost towns. To stop people from respecting ghost towns, but how? They did not succeed. That's to show them that the people are resolute. They are resisting the occupation. Thank you.
We started this program with an audio. After this segment of the conversation, I will bring the audio again. But I'd like to bring a short extract, or would I say a teaser, from Barrister Ghana and Dr. Patience Abiodo. We started by playing that audio of the president reaching out to Brazil as a form of what he has already shared with us, what he calls strategic diplomacy. We're going to look into the intricacies involved and what we consider today as Ambazonia's optimal path in wartime geopolitics. Who should we partner with at this time? There are those who sympathize with Palestine and that they are being inflicted the same pain that Ambazonia, or they are suffering genocide like Ambazonia. Ukraine is suffering genocide like Ambazonia. But President Sako and his government seem to have a different view or a different approach in terms of creating relationship. Now, before we get into that, I want us to listen to this teaser very briefly. It was a question and answer. And I want to commend Dr. Patience for the way she's reviving the Horizon and the very educational programs that she's coming up with. Yesterday was was one of its kind, an exceptional show, and Amazonians home and abroad have learned a lot. So let's listen to this. I will be back to examine this very delicate, or what we call the delicate waters in diplomacy. Let's listen to them.
On October 7th, 2023, Hamas, a Palestinian Islamic militant organization, carried out a series of coordinated attacks on Israel from Gaza Strip. Before that, the international community was focused on the Russia-Ukraine war. On November 30th of 2017, Biya of La République du Cameroon waged war on the people of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, and over 50,000 people have been killed since then. Barrister Ghana When you examine these three conflicts of war, that is Israel-Palestine, Russia-Ukraine, and La République du Cameroon versus Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, there are certainly some commonalities and differences. Please, what can you tell the international community, tell the citizens of La République du Cameroon and Southern Cameroonians about these three conflicts?
Dr. Abiedu, thank you very much for that very profound and incisive question. In responding to that, I just want to make a few things or outline a few things here. First, the world is governed by strategic interests. That is something that we Ambazonians must know and must know how to navigate. Secondly, the world is governed by the aggressive use of force. Thirdly, the Western camp, represented by the G7, has dominated the geopolitical and military alignments in the world for about the past 70 years. Fourthly, the Western powers have rejected military force as a means to changing international boundaries, as Putin's Russia is trying to do, as China is thinking of doing in Taiwan, and as Bia's Cameroon, supported by France, is attempting to do in Ambazonia. We must navigate a path very clearly. Russia did not properly factor that in, and Russia is paying a high price for their invasion of Ukraine. China made a strategic error in thinking that by supporting Russia's invasion of Ukraine and declaring an alliance with no boundaries and no limits, its military takeover of Taiwan was going to be easy. Russia's blunder, debacle, and quagmire in Ukraine is making China rethink its strategy. Hamas couldn't have read the tea leaves more off the charts by invading and attacking Israel when Russia is weakened, China's economy is sputtering, the Arab Gulf sheikhs are more interested in building their economies, and a lot of the geopolitical alignments in the Middle East today are more in favor of Israel and against terrorism. With Ambazonia, we have to be adept, strategic, and invested in making the right decisions to ensure that the over 50,000 lives of our people are not wasted. Our liberation can be done, and it will be done. But we have to seize the opportunity and stray away from egoistic tendencies by supporting the right leaders in this struggle to ensure that we can deliver Africa's newest state, which is Ambazonia.
Now, I call this the teaser of an exceptional conversation that took place between Barrister Ghana and Dr. Abiedu yesterday evening. There were, for those who have not watched it, I would advise that you try and go rewatch. We'll be streaming it all through this weekend. We'll rebroadcast it all through this weekend for those who are subscribed to our channel and those who are watching us at the home front. But the most important part of it all here and now is the clear fact of a discussion that seems to be complex. I will take it on with you, Barrister Mesa. Maybe you want to begin the conversation from that angle. What could be Ambazonia's optimal path in wartime geopolitics? There are those who think we should sympathize with Hamas, and there are others who think if we dare that, it's a mistake. Cameroon is partnering with Russia. At the same time, France the other day was calling out Israel and telling Israel to stop killing babies and women or attacking hospitals. But the same France is directly sponsoring the genocide in Amazonia where babies are fried in palm oil, quadrillions of palm oil. So it's a complex waters to swim. I want to start with you, Barrister Pesa, please.
Well, you see, when you bring in so many different wars, we get into complexes that we cannot analyze here. Every war has its own specificities. Why the war? See, there's not, well, yeah, Hamas is not a country. Hamas is a political grouping ruling the Gaza. The Gaza is part of Palestine. So, as Mr. Gandhi rightly put it there, it is agreed internationally that countries are not going to alter their borders by war. That is frowned at from east to west and in Africa as well. That's the reason for Article 4B of the Charter. You shall maintain your borders as they are. Yes, we can call Hamas terrorist group. We can call them anything we want. But those who don't know, Hamas is actually the creation of Israel and the United States. Hamas won the elections. They insisted they wanted elections in the Palestinian occupied territories because the PLO was winning every election. That's why Hamas was formed as a political party, and they won the elections in that part of the Palestine. And so, like you do not, again, I say every war has its own reasons. When you hear France breaking away from their traditional allies, the United States, calling on Israel to stop killing people, to stop doing all this and that. The Israel people have told them that, I'm not going to say it, Israel will never have peace until there's a Palestinian state. Israel, as far as this thing is concerned, like Amazonia, the Israelis are the occupiers of the Palestinian state. When Israel was formed in 1947, they had their own defined boundaries, which are still there. But in 1967, 20 years after that, in the 7-day war, they captured territories from Palestine, which they are illegally occupying. They don't even call it a territory, they call it occupied territories. They build their houses there, they chase away the Palestinians from there. That is not different from us. So until they learn this truth, I've had the opportunity to say this before. Israel has bombed the hospital, yes. They have killed so many Palestinians, yes. But they don't kill those Palestinians, they did not go free. If they killed 10,000 Palestinians, they lost at least 2,000 Israelis. As far as the Jews are concerned, the worst thing you can do to a Jew, who are called Israelites, is to kill one of them. The Israelites value their lives. So one of them to die for a cause is too much. And that's where we get into the complex of strategic thinking, strategic alliances. The Americans are caught between the hard rock and the truth. I support Israel, everybody should support Israel, provided Israel you abide by the international law of keeping to your own borders. Everybody will support Russia or Ukraine, provided they keep your own country, keep to your own boundaries that are recognized internationally. Once you go beyond those boundaries, you are a criminal. You are violating international law. And so no matter your feelings, you will come to that reality. I don't know how many of us are old enough. When we were in primary school, there used to be something they call the Oxford English Reader. It started from book 1 to book 6, which is standard 6. I think it was in book 5. There was a character there, Sherlock the moneylender. There was a moneylender there called Sherlock. It was a Jew. Have you, if you heard this expression of a pound of flesh, he had lent money to somebody. I said, okay, I don't care in interest. Just take the money. But if you don't pay it, you give me just a pound of your flesh. The man took it like that, took the money, he didn't pay. He came back late. The Sherlock guy was, the character was depicted. I said, look, well, you have defaulted. I'm not taking my money anymore. I only want your pound of flesh. They went to court because, well, you promised to give a pound of flesh. Sherlock, where do you want to take your pound of flesh? He was sharpening his cutlass, his knife. I will cut it from nearest his heart so the man might die. That was a Sherlock. That was a Jew. But he lost the case. Why? Because the court was say, okay, take a pound of flesh, but there will no drop of blood. Because the contract did not say that the guy will lose a drop of blood. So in any case, back to we have to be very, very strategic and be careful what we say. I say this not as ambassador, I say this as American. I have the right to criticize the American government for what they do wrong. I've seen some senior American State Department officials resigning because of the mayhem Israel has caused on Hamas. Yeah, a rocket came from there. But until you address the root causes of the problem, like Amazonia, until you address the root causes of the problem, which is the occupation of Palestine, the exercise of Israel of a right beyond their own boundaries recognized by law. Until you address that issue, if the war stops today, we'll start tomorrow, we'll start next year. It has been going on and on and on. And until you address the root causes of the problem, you are not going to find a solution with the Palestine, call it Hamas, Israel issue. Yes, if we go to the State Department as ambassadors, we pontificate our case. But let us leave the case with Palestine, Hamas, and Israel there. We cannot quote it before the American State Department. They don't listen to us. But that does not mean that they are doing the right thing. They are just doing the wrong thing. They are not fighting Ukraine because because Russia did something so much. Russia annexed Crimea 4 or 5 years ago. The Americans did nothing. They did nothing. They kept quiet. Maybe, I don't know why, but maybe because the Russians used a different pretext. They organized a referendum in Crimea. We don't want to go to Ukraine, we want to join us. And the voters wanted to be with us. As bad as it was, they pretended to organize a plebiscite or a referendum. But whatever is the case, as far as Amazonia is concerned, those are unnecessary parallels that we should compare in our own struggle. No, we cannot compare ourselves to China and the other states that are fighting there. We cannot compare ourselves to Ukraine and Russia. Neither can we compare ourselves to Hamas and Israel. All United Nations resolutions have pointed out to the Middle East problem two-state solution. If there's no two-state solution, which is not going to happen right now, these list have been on all the capture in 1967. They put up their home there. But until you address that issue, until you resolve that issue, the issue between Palestine, Hamas, whatever, is not going to be resolved. So let us not compare our case to theirs. Let us say our case in the best way we can and leave those people alone. Let us leave Ukraine alone. The Americans and the West are not going to show, they are not going to show the same revulsion, the same support they give to Ukraine to us. They are not going to show the same support they give to Israel to us. But they have some empathy. They can show something to us because we have a case genuinely founded, legally established. So if we waste our time on Ukraine, if we waste our time on Hamas, it will not take us far. That's my point.
Now, Barrister Fru, before I get to you, I'd like to hear from Sylvester Zama when it comes to strategic thinking, like Barrister Mbesa will put it. The question is Amazonia charting their optimal path in a wartime geopolitics. Who is the best person for us to be aligned with? Amazonia's interest, we must remember, is primordial. Please, Zama, how do we comport ourselves vis-a-vis
Well,
this ongoing conflict?
if you look at how the world, the dynamics of the world, where the currents flow, you realize that there's been no colonized people who have gained their independence going back to the colonizer. Most people who have been liberated have looked east, not west. You can name any country that has fought the war of liberation. It's never been fought or it's never been granted looking westward. It's always been east. The Eastern Europeans have never really had no colonies, so they are a fair arbiter in those situations. They are good supporters, but given our orientation, we have to be fair and balanced um, because both poles are in continuous control of the world. We have to understand our dynamics and put more pressure on uh, those issues and consequences that we can bear. Because comparing ourselves with what the Israelis are doing, and it's repugnant in all standard, and um, it's just like the Americans did when they threw a bomb in Nagasaki and Hiroshima because of the Pearl Harbor bomb, sinking of the Pearl Harbor, a boat in the Pearl Harbor. But this is real life. The whole world is seeing how a genocide is being committed at the highest level, and it's in real time. Um, if the world doesn't speak in one voice, I don't know where if anything else will change. Other people are going to copy this and they're going to do it. I don't see La Republique may say yes, or they are doing it. I think we should do it. They've done it. They've done it before. They've hazed out 600 villages. They've burnt kids in incubators. They've done everything that the state of Israel has done. But we are still 8 years in that fight, and it's in more and more. It's an ignore case of war of extermination. Um, a war of attrition that La Republic is going around and doing. But it's common that the Europeans, especially the Western Europeans, don't come to your aid until you're about to fall. They did the same thing with Mandela. Before apartheid, the Americans were the last people to close anything dealing in South Africa. The British were the same. The French were the same. Uh, the West has never really been an advocate for people to liberate themselves. They are the ones who have dominated these countries all around the globe, and they don't have no interest to liberate them. So we have to have a balanced eye. We have to look east and west, and if we can get it from the east, good. I hear there's a Russian saying that if you wait, you ask something from God and He doesn't give you, and it's taking too much time, the devil can give it to you, but you have to have the consequences. We will have to deal with that. And I think we must keep our options pretty open and keep our card as close to the vest as possible in these matters. What is going on in Israel is in that community is held for both Jews and Arabs. What's going on in Ukraine is both hell. You're facing the gun battle every single day, and these are bombs, 20-ton bombs, uh, 10-ton bombs. Yeah, it's a catastrophe for humanity. And whatever the case, we are the same in that category. We are humans that have been cut and burned and diced at the mercy, and nobody is looking at us. But we have ourselves to. I've said this several times on this show. There's no Salvation Army coming from Amazonia. We are own Salvation Army. Our citizens, our children from Amazonia that are far flung in different parts of the world can keep our citizens safe by providing what they need to keep our citizens back home, our parents, our mothers, our sisters, and children safe. And I think if we look at it from that standpoint, what the Americans are doing with taxpayers' money is what Amazonians could be doing with their own money. Because I'm a taxpayer here, they're giving all these billions away. I will have to pay for taxes. They are trying to cut Social Security and do other stuff because American fiscal policy is in the drain. They owe a lot of money, and the economy is not going to be going as it is. The dollarization going on around the world, America is going to lose a lot of money. So they don't have that strength again they are still a formidable force, but they don't have that largesse anymore. And eventually it will come crashing. Like every empire, there's a rise and there's a fall. America has reached the apex of the crescendo. It's beginning to go down. If you look at it, not only from the financial and the moral aspect of it, America is going down the drain quick.
Yeah, your opinion is taken into consideration. By Fruit, before you make a comment, we're receiving reports that there's shooting somewhere in there's shooting going on somewhere in Bamena right now. and that in fact there's crossfire between the Amazonian Restoration Forces and the colonial talks. So your advice for those of you who find yourself around the city of Bamenda to stay indoors. Um, Before we continue, I want us to flash back to something very interesting that Barrister Ghana said yesterday, so that I can give you the cue to speak.
No, no, wait.
He,
Can I comment
you
first?
speak on this. Yeah, you comment. I want your comment to fit in this so that we can conclude on that and move into the next phase. Barrister Ghana said something, I might not quote him word verbatim, but he said, after analyzing the different wars, he said strategically, which is what is the main. I thought it was imperative for us to hear out what they said yesterday because it's very important for Ambazonians to understand and for policymakers during this wartime in Ambazonia to also understand. He said it is important for Palestine to be disarmed. Japan was disarmed, and that based on strategic interest, it will be wise for Ambazonia to lean towards the United States of America at this time. And the president has also shared the same concerns. The explanations yesterday were elaborate. I'm encouraging those who did not watch that show to make sure after this program you can also go and watch it. And we will be streaming it again. After this broadcast, we'll be streaming it in the home front. The feedback we're getting is tremendous. Now, Barrister Fro, I want you to come in. Ambazonia's optimal path in wartime geopolitics. Should we
Okay.
emotional or should we be strategic? Please.
Yes. I like to start by quoting Barrister Ghana. We should tread with caution.
Yeah.
And I also agree with him that if we have to survive, we should stick by the geopolitical stand of the United States. The world is organized in strategic geopolitical interest. Israel, which was founded in 1948, is a Zionist state. A Zionist state that grew up from the Bible. In the biblical days, you had Palestine, and they talked of the Israelis being the chosen people of God. So, like I said, Israel is a Zionist state, and the Judeo-Christians around the world constitute the global Zionism. I will explain later. For this war between what you call Hamas and Israel, the global Zionism is losing the public war, the public relations war, and they are winning the real war by annihilating Palestine. I will not go to the extent of saying that Palestine should be disarmed. By no means. These are people who are fighting for their freedom, just like we are. They have fought for their freedom since 1948 to today. But I will go with the premise that what we have in hand and what we're dealing with geopolitically and diplomatically is the United States, and we must toe the line of the official position of the United States government. And therefore, we should stay out of this fight. We should stay, like I said last time, like I proposed last time, we are better off not taking a position on this conflict between Israel and Palestine. public relations.
I'm not cutting you short. I just want to add to something you have said so that you can continue. Dr. Patience has just commented. I'm asking Amazonians watching us, make your contribution so that we can know your emotion and so that it can also help the algorithms that we are speaking to understand that
I'm going to lose my train of thought.
this thing is important. Dr. Patience just said something. He says, so far, only the US has shown support for Amazonia. Resolution
Yes, that's
6.
correct. 100% correct.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I just wanted to add to what
That's
you said. Go ahead.
100% correct. And at the stage at which we are, like I said last time, we should trade with caution and stay close to the United States position without any further discussion on this matter. Why? Because I hear people say we have all people who have had independence have now looked to the east for salvation, but we don't have independence yet. Even on the African continent, nobody is talking about us. In the east, nobody is talking about us. But we are here in the United States, a government in exile, and being respected as such, being treated as such. It would be suicidal to think that we can openly go against the position of the US government on this matter. Granted, we are freedom fighters, but we have to stay cautious. We have to trade with caution. Like Ghana said, trade with caution. But I will not go to the extent of calling for the disarming of Palestine. But we must support the position of the United States to get what we want. And you must not forget the geopolitical war. If anybody neglects that we are geopolitically and economically well placed in this world, you should ask somebody in the State Department. The Gulf of Guinea remains one of the most convoted area of the world. And we are sitting right in the Gulf of Guinea. Geopolitically, we are more important than some of these people that are fighting today. And that's geopolitics. And if the West, particularly the leader of the West, the United States, has taken interest in what we are doing, it is positioning itself based on the geopolitical interest that Ghana talked about. We have to be very, very careful and stay where we are and stay with the United States position and make no further comments, and let's see where we end up. We're not yet, we have had independence, but we don't have sovereignty. Therefore, we cannot trade, we cannot do things that countries that have their sovereignty are doing right now.
Yeah, we do not have our territorial sovereignty and we are seeking for recognition. I agree with you at least by 100%.
Yes. So I agree with Dr. Abiado, Patience Abiado, that we have to stay by the side of the United States. I listened to Ghana and he was very correct. The only thing I did not agree with him was the disarming of Palestine. And I want to say that most Judeo-Christians who are part of the global Zionism, including Israel, have been holding sermons all through these things since the 7th of October, condemning Palestine. That's the position. So this world now has been split between the global Zionism and the rest of the world. The rest of the world made out of all other religions, the Islamic, the Buddhist, the Hindus, and all whatnot. So this war between Israel and Palestine is not as simple as we think.
It is quite complex.
Genocide,
There's so much. There's so
yes,
much.
genocide everywhere, anywhere is genocide everywhere. But
our
we have to,
strategic choices must be very cautious.
we must be treated with caution.
Thank you.
And
I want
yes,
Abedu to make a contribution now so we can move on. We are running out of time and there's so much for us to talk about. Take note of
and one last statement. The devil you know is better than the angel you know nothing about.
Thank you. Amazonians, for those of you who are watching us on Facebook and on YouTube, I'm encouraging you to continuously share. Keep sharing. I'm going to open the phone lines very soon. But this very brief conversation, since this was the anchor lady who handled the exceptional show of yesterday, she has a comment to make, I'm sure, based on the insights that she would have made before now. Dr. Patience, the mic is yours, please. Amazonia is listening.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you, Barrister Bisa. Thank you, Barrister Fu. Thank you, Secretary Zama, for the wonderful program. I think I just want to make a point of correction about demilitarization. Barrister Ghana did not say that he favors Palestine to be demilitarized. Only when they become a two-state, meaning that they would have solved the problem and they accept a two-state solution, then they should be demilitarized at that time to bring peace in the area. So that's just the point I want to make. I hope that comes out clearly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Whether you disarm Palestine now or disarm Palestine after the 2 years after they have had their state and there's a two-state station, the result is the same. The war is between Judeo-Christian, what I call global Zionism, and the rest of the world.
That is amazing. Fellow Ambazonians, we've come to a very important phase of this conversation. But before we even move into that phase, I want us to listen to the president once again on his romance with Brazil. He has been officially invited. We already know the situation of Brazil and the strategic decisioning or positioning of our government to liaise or partner more with Brazil. The president sent out an audio. It's been about 48 hours already. Some of you would have heard it. I want us to refresh our minds on it again. Right after that, we are going to collectively ask some questions to Mr. Arnold. And I'll open the phone lines so that you can make your contribution statement.
Dear people of Brazil, beloved Africans of the diaspora, fellow activists and intellectuals, let me recognize the Reverend Sergio Melo and the Azusa Institute team for inviting me to this important conference. Thank you, Brazil, for your interest in the conflict and sufferings of the annexed people of southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, a former autonomous UN Trust territory in West Africa. My name is Samuel Ikome Sako, the head of the revolutionary government of Ambazonia. It is characteristic of revolutionary politics for the enemy, in our case it is the government of Cameroon and France, to sponsor individual spoilers and splinters to diminish the strength of their opponent, and in our case attempt to obfuscate the fact that this conflict involves two different people and two different countries. There are lots of fake websites, misinformation, and fake groups online bankrolled by the Yaoundé and French agents just to counter our efforts, cover the truth, and undermine the legitimate authority over the southern Cameroon's Amazonia. However, true leadership in a liberation context like ours is not by title only. It is by legitimacy. And legitimacy has to do with the following and support a leader enjoys amongst his people. In this regard, I can tell you unequivocally that I am the most consequential leader of the annexed people of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia since 2018. And our website is www.statehouseboya.org. According to the Norwegian Refugee Council, Cameroon, and in this case it has to do with Ambazonia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Burkina Faso, as of 2020, are the most neglected displacement crisis in the world. More than 50,000 civilians have been killed, and this is more than the Ukraine, Russia, and Israel-Hamas wars combined. About 5,000 of our people are incarcerated without trial by French Cameroon in their dungeons. More than 1.6 million internally displaced, and over 300,000 refugees in Nigeria, Ghana, Cyprus, and around the world. What's going on in Ambazonia is horrendous. It is ethnic cleansing. It is genocide. It's a humanitarian catastrophe and the worst abuse of human rights in modern times by the state of Cameroon. Some history. The Republic of Cameroon was granted independence on January 1st, 1960. Nigeria, our borders, our neighbors to the west, had their own independence granted on the 1st of October 1960. When it came to our turn in 1961, the post-World War II Cold War order decided that the southern Cameroons and Ambazonia be granted independence by joining either French Cameroon, independent French Cameroon, or independent Nigeria, even though we opted overwhelmingly for a standalone independence. We had our government, a head of state, a bicameral parliament, a functional judiciary, a police force, and functional institutions of state, departments of state. Britain told the United Nations then that we were too little and too poor to stand alone. But in reality, they feared we could fall into the hands of communist ideologues like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. We voted following their options to obtain independence by joining the French Cameroon in a federation of two states of equal status. The United Nations passed Resolution 1608 prescribing the process of joining the two countries to form a new country to be called the Federal Republic of the Cameroons. According to the Charter of the United Nations 102, such a union of necessity requires that both states sign a union treaty and deposit same at the United Nations. Only then can their individual borders be dissolved to form new borders for the new nation. Unfortunately, while our leaders were contemplating a union of equals, as mandated by the United Nations, the French Cameroon government, under the influence of the French, were bracing for annexation. So what was supposed to be our walk into freedom marked the beginning of our annexation and recolonization by the French proxy state of Cameroon. They refused to sign the Treaty of Union with us. They dissolved our government and parliament. They banished our institutions. And 11 years down the road, they fraudulently ended the United Nations mandated federation. Since 1961, the Cameroon regime instituted a system of apartheid, carrying out assassinations, incarceration, enforced disappearances, intimidations, exploitation, oppression, and systematic assimilation of our people of southern Cameroon and Ambazonia just to subdue us. They quickly realized that 80% of petroleum resources are in our land, and that Ambazonia accounted for 60 to 70% of the GDP of the Cameroon colonial state, even though we are only 20%, as they say, of the population of the colonial state. In 2016, Southern Cameroon's civil society all came together to request that the country either return to its original federation of two states of equal status, or we both go our separate ways. All hell break loose as the French proxy state was advised by France to declare war on us. Since then, Cameroon soldiers target and massacre our babies, our children, our women, our young boys in Ambazonia. They are doing doing so daily with machine guns, with bombs, with helicopter gunships. French Cameroon has withdrawn from all international attempts at mediation, whether in Switzerland or somewhere in Canada, preferring the military option to resolving a political issue. We are working hard to push the United States government, willing nations, including Brazil, and the African diaspora at large, to go beyond the inertia of mere statements of condemnation and force the bloody regime of Yaoundé to meet Ambazonia on the table to address the root causes of this war. We also need help to defend our people from being massacred by French in this proxy war of theirs, just for demanding our right to self-determination. And it is our right. Thank you very much for having me, and God bless you.
Wow, that was amazing. There, we are facing a little bit of some challenges in our system. I would say, Mr. President, that what you said there could not have been said any better. But yet there is a concern that has happened, and I think I have. It's a 7th year, though we are getting into the 8th year of this war. And so there are many questions to be asked anyway, but I think I have 7 questions for Chris Arnold. Before I ask these questions, some of you would have watched a video that was brought to my attention a few days ago. I want us to refresh our minds on this video. And right after that, we will ask the questions together. The phone lines will be opened and you will have the chance to make your contributions. Let's listen to Mr. Chris Arnold. These are very heart-wrenching words. For those who know the truth, you don't even want to listen to them. But his talks are strategically distributing it among our people, and we have been reliably informed that is creating some confusion. It is our duty to come and make corrections. Let's hear Arnold.
That Dr. Samuel Ikomesako is now acting on behalf of La République du Cameroon. He is no longer acting on behalf of the interests of the people of Ambazonia. Barrister John Froon saw a very big disappointment, ladies and gentlemen. When this guy joined us in the diaspora, we thought this was a man we could look up to for some sound counsel, advice. We didn't know that he left La République du Cameroon, but La République du Cameroon hasn't left him yet. Absolutely not. Barrister John Froon left La République du Cameroon, but La République just hasn't left him. This is a man we thought was God sent. This is a man we thought was a pastor. This is a man I also thought was a brother. I believe very, very strongly La République du Cameroon is behind these people. They will eventually sell us to La République du Cameroon. Samuel Ikomesako is acting on the impulses from La République du Cameroon. That is very, very clear. Samuel Ikomesako has a different agenda that is not about freeing Ambazonia.
Well, anybody can say anything. What makes the difference is the ability to substantiate or balance our words with our actions. The video we've just unveiled or shown to you those were utterances that sent shocks of waves across our communities, and he's still doing so strategically. That was a voice claiming salvation, promises enshrouded in mystery, and the plight of a people yearning for clarity. Tonight's session, we cut deeper down and deep into the surface tumor. We are untangling the complexities of a saga that unfolded over the past 2 years. A saga where actions and words hang precariously in the balance. Tonight again, Mr. Anu, with burning questions at hand, we demand answers that slice through the din, a quest for the truth buried beneath layers of assertions, of actions, and supposed deceits. We have invited you today, Mr. Anu, the man at the storm's center, to engage with us. We press for clarity and perhaps to shine light on the shadows orbiting your own very move. So beneath this light that is over me now, with Ambazonia and the world as our witness, let's dive into the heart of the matter. Question number 1. Mr. Anu, a year prior to the crescendo of unrest, your so-called memo, a declaration of dissent against President Sako's cabinet, rocked the political landscape of our struggle. Now, reflecting on some of the things or assertions you made, do you think that after deflecting with your tiny faction of Marianta, Nanchop, and others, it would have been good for you to just hand power to Sisiko? That's my first question. Until today, you have not handed your cabinet, because that was what you suggested. You have not handed your cabinet. Now, number 2, your memorandum heralded the virtue of unity, yet today we stand fragmented. It took you less than 6 months to fragment the few activists you got with you into more than 4 factions. I want to ask you, where is Nanchop? Where is Clovis? Where are all the activists? Ambazonians are waiting for you to answer these questions. Less than 6 months. Mr. Anu, about allegations and accusations of you denying today that you never wanted a federation. But we have facts to substantiate that. You are pressing on a referendum. Are you perhaps inadvertently placing the roads or ignorant of the fact that a referendum jeopardizes what we call today the sovereign state of Ambazonia? Number 4, your vocal endorsement of transformative change was by ambiguous pledges. You criticized President Sako or Dr. Sako's vision. In current movement, you're paying tribute to predecessors. Now, if we want to look at you criticizing everything President Sako did, have you been able to bring together Ambazonians with your activism or whatever you're doing for 2 years? Now, Ambazonians, number 5, we want to have financial clarity to you, with a staggering 135,000 US dollars unaccounted for. Can you boldly look into the faces of Ambazonians today and delineate what about and talk to them about credibility and accountability? Mr. I brought the deal. You have to answer us. Number 6 question. It would appear that even coup plotters do not trust you as much to give their monies to you. We have seen you organize fundraisers where less than 500 US dollars was raised. And just to remind you, even the money you're laying claim about from Ambazonia Foundation was not raised by coup plotters. The evidence is clear. Because if coup plotters could raise money, at least they could have been able to raise some monies to you based on all the lies you're telling. I understand the fact that you are literally void of understanding when it comes to the legality. That's number 7 question. The legality and the historicity of the Ambazonian struggle. I understand that. I'm very, very conscious about that. I know that once your monologue is taken away from you, you can be as void as nothing. But you are pushing for a certain lobbyist to ensure that there is a referendum. Do you think that you have to lie to Ambazonians to fund their own enslavement into La République du Cameroon? There are several questions. Now, comparing the fact that you are shifting the ball from what we call a negotiation into a referendum that Cameroon has total control at this time, who is working for Yaoundé? If I may ask, have you forgotten your indiscriminate romance with Bankwi and the Prime Minister? You told Ambazonians a few days ago that there are billionaires that you're in communication with, and these billionaires are looking up to you as the Messiah, the whistleblower, to come with something new. There should be a reset. Where are these billionaires? Why would you have to lie about registering Ambazonia in America just so that you can have donations? I understand, Mr. Arno, that Facebook views to you is more than oxygen that you breathe. These days, you barely get the views. The coup plotters, a mixed multitude of those who are about 500 following you via Zoom. You hold meetings now, less than 50 people come. Your cabinet in itself is a wreckage. The Mike Fusi, Gertrude Kisop in themselves are Confucianists. Can you be humble at this dying moment to realize that you're nothing but a flop, and that you need to apologize to Ambazonians for worsening the situation single-handedly, big-mouthing on social media, standing out there to worsen a situation at the time you started your reset program? Ambazonia was actually at the peak of the war, putting Cameroon on their knees. Cameroon was literally begging for negotiations and playing games. Some believe that you were subscribed to dismantle that apparatus. Only a few weeks after you declare yourself president of a certain group of few, Cameroon boycotted the Swiss-led mediation. That same mediation, as member of the interim government and spokesperson of the Ambazonian people, you were not even in agreement with. Like Cho Ayaba, like Chris Ano. You were not in sync with the vision of the Amazonian people. I want to remind you, Mr. Ano, that today you want people to donate to you based on initiatives that were created by a man. You painted a picture and say he knew nothing. You're using the draft and the APP plan that was created by President Sako. The CID at the time, now AID, you were not a donor. There is no record of you paying your AID or CID. You don't pay CID, number one, Chris Ano. You were not drafting. You were not following the president during the drafts. You were absent. Your absence was eminent. Come to think of it, how could you have the audacity to ask people to donate to you when you never even believed in the same platforms that were created to raise funds for the war that we're fighting? I guess you became lofty because of the views you had on Facebook, and you enjoyed those glorious moments on this platform. Looking at you today, you're simply a wreckage of what you used to be. My question again, which should be the final question, is that can you be humble? As we await the responses that could either forge pathways of trust or deepen gulfs of uncertainty, Ambazonia holds its breath. The dialogue we set forth today promises to be telling, as it is imperative for the soul of our nation stands in the box of weakness. Mr. Anu, the stage is yours. These questions, or these aren't just questions, they are the echoes of Ambazonia's heartbeats, waiting for your answers. Waiting for your answers. I invited you a few days after you started your uproar against Ma Irene and the government. I invited you for a conversation and you absconded. Once again, I'm challenging you, either on this platform or via your platform. I'm ready for us to have a debate, you and I, on the words you said, the things you did, and the things you're doing today. Ambazonians and history will hold witness that for the second time, I'm challenging you for a conversation. Let us profile the things you said, the intentions and the objectives, and let's know who is and or was speaking the truth. But before you do that, do yourself some honor. Tell Ambazonians what happened to 135,000 US dollars that counties and the entire government put together for you to help in some of our initiatives or help our fighters on the ground. What happened to it? And that's not all. You accused Ma Iringwa for spreading her legs. In other words, spreading her tentacles. But you are yet to answer the question, what and why you were finding, or why you were the mastermind behind negotiations involving defense. Mr. Chris Ano, Comrade Chris, I do not even want to delve into what your friend Asong said. She said the same individuals You gave 135,000 US dollars to. Asong said it, I didn't say it. That was your best friend. She said you used the same method and disappeared close to 35,000 US dollars. This is not even money that the Coopers raised. This was money that was stolen from the government, from the National Treasury. For more than 2 years, you, Chris Arno, Marianta, Nanchop, Spemchop, or whatever they call themselves, Clovis, Jara, all of you, the activists, my Fusi, Getro Kisop, you have been unable to raise up to 100,000 US dollars. Shockingly for you, the interim government this year did not do pledges. Cash paid into the National Treasury, excluding what ABC Amber TV has raised for 1 year, is close to 500,000 US dollars. Now, if you include what ABC Amber Television has been able to put together, it should not be less than 600,000 US dollars. Can you come out? We are not talking about pledges. We're talking about money that Ambazonians who believe in the vision of President Sako and who know you better than those who are romanced or moved by your big mouthing on social media are donating to this vision. Can you just be humble to know that you are a failure and shut your big mouth up? I'll bring our analysts to comment this issue. It's unfortunate that we need to avoid these things, but for some reason, time and time again, we would have to come and clarify our people of the lies so that we are not left in a state of confusion. Barrister, so I know you can't wait to speak. Please, Doctor.
Yes, I just listened to the infamous audio of Mr. Chris Anu, and one thing came to mind. He accused Dr. Sako and myself that is me, that I've never left. I left La République du Cameroon, but I've not left La République du Cameroon. And I don't know whether that thing is going to continue. Let him tell the world what I or Dr. Sako have done to give Ambazonians the impression that we work with La République du Cameroon like he does. We have evidence. I have evidence that you, Chris Anu, you started working with La République du Cameroon the day our leaders were captured in Nigeria. I was their counsel, and I've visited Nigeria more than 6 times, and I can tell you, Chris Anu, that what Banqui said about you is not far from the truth. Have you ever defended yourself? No, I'm not going to enter into polemics with a man who claims to be a journalist. From his audio, I want to believe that he is not a journalist. He might have been a reporter trained in the back streets of Lagos and ended up a TV repairer in Houston, Texas, where I went to school. Chris Anu, why don't you develop your thesis and tell Ambazonians what Dr. Sako has done to sell Ambazonian to La République du Cameroon, according to you? Or what Barrister Fru has done right from ground zero, or what we call now home front, before coming to America and continuing the fight? What has he done to give you the impression that he left La République du Cameroon, but La République du Cameroon has not left him? We are interested to know. When I mean we, I
Mr.
mean
I,
all Ambazonians. You know.
Mr. I brought the deal to the Restoration Council after several months. Ambazonians, I need to remind you of this. Several months after Chris Ano was pushing on the agenda that President Sako has been doing some fraud and that there has been mismanagement of state funds. President Sako requested for evidence. He subscribed or employed Nanchop to fabricate some that were noticeable by all to be mere fabrications. Chris Anu, in his own words, told the defunct, related, extinct Restoration Council that there are no evidence. That in itself should have helped somebody to understand that as a journalist, if he was licensed, the license should be taken away. Because when he was talking to Amazonians, he was not talking in probable terms. Mr. Arnold spoke with certainty. He did not say allegedly, which is permitted in journalism. I'm not a journalist, but at least I've worked with journalists for nothing less than 14 years. I'm better journalist than you, Chris Arnold. So, and I've worked in the media, in multimedia atmosphere for nothing less than 10 years. So, Chris, I'm asking you this question. You have said yourself that you don't have evidence after you made assertions of accusation. That in itself, in America, is a lawsuit. It's a lawsuit. By Stambesa, please.
Thank you for getting back to me. My problem is when the narrative is too long, I don't know where to start. And so
Just
this
start
is
from
where let me just start from the little that I know. From the clip that you played there, 2-3 minutes clip. I don't know what was in the whole video or audio, but I listened to two. To that one, that 2 minutes on. And essentially, the clip says that there's no doubt that President Sako and Johnson are working for the Republic. That's a summary of the clip.
Yes.
That's what is there. And I thought that's where we should address here. All these other ton of lies or truths are not important. Based on that, let me take off from this way. Mr. Anu has said it many times, together with Kometa and many others in that group, that President Sako has been impeached and removed. If he's impeached and removed, what is your problem with him again? If he's impeached, he's no longer the president. Maybe Mr. Anu does not know. You're not going to make your own historical contribution through what Sako did or did not do. You are going to stand on your own two legs and say, this is what I did when I became president. But unfortunately, you're not going to do that. Because from the day that you were made president, to the best of my knowledge, and everybody's knowledge, you abandoned the office into which you were elected. So when Christian is talking there, he's talking as who? Is he talking as anchorman? Is he talking as secretary of communication? Is he talking as president? So he's not talking anything like a presidential as a president. If you were in leadership, to have said, well, this is what Sako did, somebody was removed. I'll repair it and do it better. We are not seeing that. And so it is not enough to say somebody works for you. I mean, if you removed President Sako, impeachment removed him, it is but normal that you remove me, you remove so because we're working for him. So you don't need to put my name there anymore. Because you remove the team leader and all the players go with him. And so The message that was delivered in that clip is that they are working for Yaoundé. And I want listeners to follow this particular part that I'm bringing out. It's so assertive, but let me emphasize it. The best evidence we have of whoever is working for Yaoundé in this struggle is from Bankui. Bankui traveled from Cameroon to Yaoundé and adopted the Naira 10, and they are today in Yaoundé. It's not speculation. Bankui made a video, and an audio in which he said the person who cooperated with me is Mr. Chris Anu. It is there. It is not me saying it. He said this.
Of course.
He could have been lying. But the strange thing about it, to the best of my knowledge, is that he said this way back in 2018, 5, 6 years ago. To the best of my knowledge, I have not heard Chris Anu anywhere, even pretentiously, say, no, Banku was lying. I have not heard it. Maybe he has said that somewhere else, but I have not
No.
heard it. So if he has not said anywhere, if he has not debunked this story, told live on video and audio by the chief administrator of Yaoundé who adopted our people, he has not confessed or doing anything wrong. He hits his chest. If he has not done this, who then, amongst us, including me and all of us sitting here, can be said to be working with Yaoundé? Who else? So,
In fact, just so you know, on during his show, one pastor came there, I think Kongo, and said it in front of him and played the audio, and he shut him up. He did not say you're lying. He said you don't have a right to play
yeah,
anything in my platform. Go
all I'm
ahead.
saying is that when Bankoi said that, he was still with us in the IG. There were so many occasions for him to say that Bankoi had lied. They have never said it. That was 5, 6 years ago. He has never debunked it. And so, unless we are so stupid, silence in the face of accusation is admittance. If
Correct.
I say, if I come and say you slept with my wife, you don't say, no, I don't know that woman. Oh, I don't know that man. It is clear that you are admitting the facts. So just based on that clip and this piece of evidence, I think the nonsense of who is working with Yaoundé should stop. Everybody knows. Maybe you're no longer working with Yaoundé, but you work with Yaoundé to adopt Sisiku and the 10 others. Because Bankui said so. Yeah? Bankui is the one who traveled to Nigeria and brought the people to Yaoundé. Bankui is still alive. So what other evidence do we need to see who was, who is still working with Yaoundé? And again, point again, which I should emphasize. If I was working for Yaoundé, if Mr. Ansar was working for Yaoundé, if President Saku was working for Yaoundé, so be it. We're no longer there because we have been dismissed. We have been impeached and dismissed. Put up a team that will work with you without cooperating with Yaoundé and deliver Southern Cameroon Ambazonian independence. As simple as that. Good morning. I've said this before. If you take us to Boya, I'll make a sign of the cross and say thank you. But as long as you don't need it, as long as you just die, as long as you go on doing that, I don't want to go into your story of $135,000, which is not a lie. We're all there. You did not deny taking the $135,000. You did not. You are the one who said that you went to scammers. That was from your own mouth. But unfortunately, you did not even know how to fight it because you ended up by saying that you went to spammers,
Come on.
and then and then you said, look, you did not defend the scammers. You simply said that you went to scammers. And then you said the scammers did a very good job by sending people to come and fight for us in Ambazonia, and that 2 of them died. In other words, you know them very, very well, and you know the people to send to come and fight who died in the battlefront. So they are no longer scammers. They are people you knew. You can identify them. You identify their job. So I'm not going to go into that. That's not the issue. The issue that you raised in that clip is who is working with Yaoundé. On the evidence of Bankwe, in the face of your own silence, it is Chris Anu working with Bankwe, with Yaoundé. As simple as good morning. And if you think that you're not working for Yaoundé, put all your own structures, work against Yaoundé, and deliver Ambazonian independence, and all of us will hail you. But without which, whether you call yourself comrade, or you call yourself whatever name you give there, that is not the title for which you were elected. You did not fight to take over power from Marianta as president to become an anchor guy. He fought Marianta to get the position of president. Mr. Kometa did not install Mr. Anu as anchorman. He installed you as the president. And so if you have abandoned those basic functions, that's supposed to make you lead Ambazonians across the line. You have failed. You have abandoned it. Yet your term is not yet over. I don't know even when it will be over. But when the time comes when you have not delivered, we will make a summary of your promises. We will make a summary of your failures and your achievements. But for now, revisiting history, who works with Yaoundé is Mr. Chris Anu. Evidence, banquet, on audio, on video, you have not refuted it anywhere. Thank you, everybody.
That was amazing right there. That's what Zama. Before we talk briefly on the technicalities involved with this referendum again and conclude the program, I would like you to react to what you've heard this evening and what Mr. Chris Anu is telling our people.
I don't know. I don't know how many people Mr. Anu still has behind him, because I've been in one of those Ismaila list forums, and there's not much there. Um, he has been the mouthpiece of emptiness in this revolution. He became prominent not because of his own self, but because of his brother, and he used his brother and he ended up dying. I think, to me, Chris Anu has dropped on the wayside. He's one of those elements on the bottom of the periodic table that are not, they are valuable, but they are not used often. I think Mr. Anu has done his best to do what he can do, but he did not value. He wants to valorize his service to the Amazonian people now. That's why he's not doing a service for the Amazonian people, but he's somebody who has to make a living, and I don't blame him for that. I think he should accept the fact that he's not made any headway in all the accusations that he's levied against all the good people working for this IG, all the ladies who are in this, especially with Secretary Irene Ngwa. But that's just Chris. I think, to me, he's dead when it comes to this revolution. He's just like one of those soldiers that have been shot too many times. There are so many people that have shot at him using their mouths, their voices, and all that stuff on Chris. I think we should let this person go. He has no real traction in the fight anymore, and he doesn't have no real voice. People had spat him out like Oklahoma tobacco, that has lost its taste. So I think, to me, I don't really see anything about him anymore. He's done the worst that he can do, and he can't do any worse than what he did. And I think, for me, I think it's nice. I think it's a good example of how to spoil yourself, how to really make yourself, I said, thrown into a trash dustbin of history. He's been in there for a while, and I think we should not waste our time belaboring the fact that he's been a failure to this fight. He was not a contributing person. He had his voice, like he said. He uses his voice to get people to contribute, but he's never really been one who contributed a lot of anything apart from his voice and some of the things that he said. That has misled a lot of our soldiers. A lot of our people have died because of what he got himself into, and the branding of the IG that he never worked for. And I think at the end of the day, I think for me, he's a foregone conclusion. He's in the dustbin of the Amazonian history, and he's gonna find himself in there for a while. There's no redemption for this.
He is in the dustbin of Amazonia history, and he will surely find himself in there for a while. Now we conclude on this note. He continues to push on the agenda of a referendum, or even after we have educated the public very widely on those issues. I think we should continue, because education is never sufficient, and that's where we'll conclude. And I will start with you, Barrister Fro, in that delight. We should conclude on that. What are some of the intricacies and the dangers involved with this whole lofty ideas of a referendum? Just the other day, it was brought to my attention that he brought someone from La Republique to Cameroon on his platform, and this individual categorically told him, listen, I am 100% citizen of Cameroon under the leadership of Biya, and I don't know what you're talking about. Please, Barrister Fro, you want to be in conclusion?
Yes. First and foremost, I think this should be the last show or anything that we'll have to talk about Chris Anu, because he's not important. He is. We are putting him on a pedestal that he does not belong. Secondly, a referendum, as we lawyers know it, is a process enshrined in a constitution or in other texts that allows a country to pose an important question, a constitutional question to its electorate.
Yeah.
A particular country, this referendum that Chris Ano is running up and down and proclaiming, what is it all about? La Republique is an independent country. We are an independent country.
Yeah.
As you see, by that saying, we should abandon Resolution 1608 that granted us independence and stick to La Republique and have a referendum before they can decide whether we are going to have our own state, or we are going to be part of them in some kind of an arrangement. If that is the case, then what Mr. Chris Anu and his lobbyists and his acolytes are actually saying is that the Ambazonian struggle should forget about the independence of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, the Southern Cameroons. Unless he is talking about another form of referendum that I, as a lawyer, I don't know about. I repeat myself, a referendum is either a process enshrined in a constitution to address important changes in the life of a particular country, or it's enshrined in a document of that country that says the electorate should be called to vote to decide on an important constitutional amendment. We are not part of La République du Cameroun. If you read Resolution 1608 in its entirety, you will know that we are not part of La République du Cameroun. So this referendum, what is its objective, and in which country is going to organize? La République du Cameroun? Because the United Nations, as far as I know, does not organize any election. They supervise. From registration from preparing registration, from registration to when you start voting before the United Nations comes in to make sure that it's a free and fair election. It is organized by a structure in that particular country. Call it an independent electoral commission, call it elecam, call it whatever. So this question of referendum, we should not even talk about it because President Sako has given a, a mastery lecture, a maestro of what a referendum is all about. And every Amazonian understands now. So no need belaboring the point.
Amazing. Barrister Mbesa, please. And
Well,
Amazonians, as you are listening to our audience, we're calling on those of you. The year is fast coming to an end, and ABC Amber Television is at the pivotal to make sure that um, the same organizations you had during October 1st and all through the year, you are aware that this is the only platform that is fighting the war effectively in the media. Make your donations. Some of you have been unable to do your subscription for 6 months, not because you're unwilling, but because the platform has been facing some challenges. If you continue to face those challenges, please do not hesitate to use the payment platforms that we are showing on the screen right now, or you can call any of the numbers you see right there. I want you to look at it, screenshot them, and be a part of this winning strategy. Be a part of our media armed force that is winning the grounds. The president has tasked us to take it into the French Republic and to the French territories all around the world, to take it into Latin America, with Brazil being our hub. So we're calling on you right now that to do that will cost money, and make your donations today. It is a reliable platform, it is credible, there is consistency, there is professionalism, and we are ensuring that Ambazonia can tell her own story with her own voice in every man's world. By the end of this year, we will give to you full detail on the grounds we have been able to cover, the new things we're introducing starting next year, and how we are breaking into the complex platforms of mainstream media to impact the world with our story. We are taking it, if we have achieved this much, I can tell you we are just beginning. It is what we're going to start doing starting next year is mind blowing. In fact, um, I'm letting the cat out of the bag. On the 30th of December, the president will be giving an award, a recognition. There's going to be a recognition, a national recognition. And we will use that day as an opportunity to provide to you some of the great things that ABC Amber TV has been able to achieve on behalf of the nation of Amazonia, and will provide for you a blueprint and a framework of greater things that we are going to do. So I'm calling on all those who are watching us right now. Call the number you see on your screen right there. If you have not been, your credit card has not been deducted for some time, we understand that hundreds and hundreds of people willing to donate to us have been finding difficulty to make that donation. Use the cash app, use our Zelle. If you are in Europe, you can contact us, and we will link you to the chief of staff and to the press sec, so you can make your donation today. There's a lot we have to do, and this media warfare will require your financial support. Barrister Mbesa, please.
well, I was trying to say that, see, I've spoken so much, so often about this referendum thing. And as Basan says, a referendum is a mechanism often enshrined in the constitution of a country, first to approve a political project or reject it, or to answer a specific question, political question that is national. And so that is the purpose for which referenda are conducted. In this our own context, there is a war going on between two parties. The two parties are Ambazonians and La Republique. So, which are the agreed issues that you want a referendum to decide? The parties must have agreed on something that they will put to the population by way of referendum. I have not seen them tell me what they want, what questions they want to put to the people. That has been agreed by Ambazonians and their opponents, the Republic of Cameroon. I have not seen one. So talking about referendum now is all nonsense. When the thing started, I said 2 years ago, a year or more ago, that a referendum is dead on arrival. Some people took offense. As you say, the idea of referendum is dead, was dead on arrival, it is still dead today. Why? You don't need to go far to find that. The referendum issue has been discussed for a long time as capo in their private meetings. But remember, there was something they called the Grand National Dialogue. Those in favor of the referendum are not different from the Federalists. They are Federalists. They are not saying the same thing, but they are like the Federalists in this Ambazonian struggle. The Federalists have been there forever, but they have not succeeded even to put their federal agenda on the table of the opponent. That's what I'm coming to. When the Grand National Dialogue came in, all the Federalists were there. The referendum advocates were there, including Munzu, including late Cardinal Tumi. They all partook in the Grand National Dialogue. They did not as much as inscribe the referendum of federation on the agenda of Yaoundé. It didn't feature anywhere there, but they participated in the Grand National Dialogue, which was in principle meant to resolve Anglophone problem. It did not. After that, what has happened? After that, unless you forget, we've had Canada 1, Canada 2, Canada 3. All these things we believe, or some of us believe, including me, that they were sponsored by Yaoundé. Why has the referendum issue not featured permanently on the agenda of Canada 1, Canada 2, Canada 3, where the people was adequately represented? It has not. Therefore, it is dead on arrival. We don't need to go to other things. They have been saying referendum was supervised by United Nations. Yes, supervised by United Nations, but organized by who? Organized by who? What does organization really mean? Organization means get the people registered to vote, giving them registration cards, showing their polling stations. Has Mr. Anu or advocates of the referendum done this work? They have not. Who will do it? Elekam. That's the only structure in place. Elekam will do it in Cameroon. And the UN, if they do come there, which are not even coming in the first place, will come in to say, okay, no, this is the standard for polling station, this is the standard for this. They look at what Yaoundé has done. And again, let me emphasize, they have sung this song that Yaoundé once promised a referendum. Yes, Yaoundé promised a referendum, but they promised a referendum the criminal way, where they will come and the CPDM will vote the way they want. So again, the referendum issue is dead on arrival. And let me add this. Before we came to this program, I discussed this issue of referendum with referendum advocates for so long, privately. And I told them that a referendum could come, but there's a way to bring a referendum into this struggle. Let them just go to the table. You push your opponent to the principle of referendum. How will you do it? If we go to the discussion table now, and I'm there, I will insist that the only issue on this table is independence or unification with Yaoundé. And I will insist that I'm in the majority that represent the majority view of Ambazonians. Yeah, when they will say, no, you're lying. You are nothing. They will say, okay, let's just put a referendum to see who of us is right. You saying that we should remain with you, or you saying that you want to go. That's how you can push your opponent tactically into a referendum to answer the question which you are trying to avoid. So it is only that is okay. We have reduced the issue into deciding the same thing we are saying, whether we should remain with Yaoundé or we should break up and form our own country. These are the only two questions that will be there. And then they say, okay, Yaoundé will say, no, I'm reforming to stay with us. We say, no, we are gone. We are 90% sure. So put the referendum. They'll say, okay, the fine print will come in. Who organize it? How will it be organized? That's the only way we could get to a referendum. But there are thousands of miles from there. Yaoundé has not yet sat on the table with Christianu or with any Ambazonian, a rare Ambazonian, to discuss anything. And they are proposing a referendum. And finally, those of our brothers and sisters who discuss this with us in negotiations, in all negotiations, you don't lead out your trump card. The opponent is not just going to accept because you're right. No, they don't give in like that.
Yeah.
They don't just accept what you say as the opponent. They will refuse if that's the best solution because it has come from you. You say, no, we don't want to accept this. So you don't go and propose something that they will not accept. A referendum should then, if I were on the conference table, should be used by the mediator to separate the disagreement of who is in the majority and the independentists or unionists. That's the only question that will be answered. And the mediator will say, well, since people cannot agree, you are contesting who is in the majority, can we make a referendum? That will come from a neutral person. It might be you even whisper into his ear. It will be acceptable to your opponent. Again, I gave this last example. During the Ivorian crisis, the Ivorian government was represented by Afi Ngesan. He was the prime minister. They went with Guillaume Soro, and whatever Guillaume Soro said, Afi Ngesan, who was the prime minister, accepted. When they came back to the Ivory Coast, they could not deny it because the man who sat on the conference there was the prime minister. But what did they do? They fired Afi Ngesan for accepting everything that Guillaume and Soro people said. And that was the end of his political career for the past, since 2005. And so our brothers and sisters who advocate for referendum, I advise them to go do the fine prints of referendums, how they are organized, the procedure
Yeah.
for doing it, and the principles that guide those things. We sing it like a choir, we sing it like a church hymn without knowing the fine
And the
details.
unique example of Southern, let's say in North Africa, where their referendum has simply disappeared in the air. Yes,
Because nobody will
SOS.
organize it. So Mr.
Yeah.
Paul Biya has not accepted that we have a problem of being independent as a state and joining them. Then you are going to make the referendum, and then who will vote? It will be like 1972 referendum, where all Cameroonians from east to west
Where
gave
is
their
the
consent.
referendum of Western Sahara? That's the question that Amazonia is
Okay.
clinging to. And Morocco has the tendency of French Cameroon. SOS Ama,
Well,
in conclusion,
whatever way,
please.
I think for Cameroon is it's a dual-edged, two-sided blade for La République. It's gonna be dragged into a referendum if it does, and it will want to do all its machinery to win. But I don't think, except he had literally transported half the population of La République to vote in Amazonia, they will not even win that election. There's in a referendum. But at this point, I don't think it's anything that we should be even discussing. We are not even going to talk about that, to be honest. What Barrister Mbesa is saying, the modalities, we don't even have control of the modalities, and knowing what it is, who can vote? If you say only Ambazonians, who can vote? Is it any English person is called an Ambazonian? So those modalities are things that we cannot control right now, and we don't have no structures to manage that. It will be managed by the colonial government of Yaoundé, and they will have their own ways to do things. You know how clean
Yeah.
they always do elections. They always do it at 99% proper, and
Yeah.
it's not something we want to go through. We've lost a lot of people that on the basis of that, we will get our independence. We are walking on the sweat and the blood of all these citizens who were doing nothing other but asking for what they really are due, and they've refused. They go to college, they can't find work, they become yatmen, babysitters in Yaoundé, they become prostitutes, they become buy and sell truck pushers with college degrees in their pockets. Just the mere fact that they are English speaking Cameroonians. But we've gone beyond that. 2016 told us that we transcended that. We've crossed the Rubicon, and there is no going back when it comes to all that. La République is going to think about this 20 years later and say this is the worst way of having a conflict resolution. They've blown the boats and they've blown every barrier of that situation. For people like Barrister Ambesa and all the legal minds in this IG and in our communities, I know they're gonna do what is good for Ambazonia, and I don't think referendum is any word that I want to even be using, given the fact that they didn't kill our kids because they could not say, well,
Yeah.
let's do a referendum. I think we've crossed that threshold, and we are miles and miles away from that.
That's quite amazing. And to even think of the fact that, so gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank you very much for spending so much time with us. It has been an amazing show. We would agree that Amazonians have learned a lot from the discussion of today. But to even think as we concluding, to even think of the fact that those who are calling for a referendum are the ones proposing it to themselves. So we will not be wrong to say that they have literally surrendered, like President Sako would say it. They have simply surrendered. And it is unfortunate to see comrades surrendering during a time of war like this. They have literally surrendered. Fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at a logical conclusion of this program. The lies spread by Chris Anu have been exposed in a very tremendous way, an exceptional way. Thanks to the great effort of all the Amazonian restoration forces in Bui, in Ngoketunjia, who've done an excellent job, who neutralized intruders at the home front earlier today. Additionally, the strategic diplomacy employed in the conflict has been analyzed in a very particular way. The discussion started with Dr. Patience Abiodu yesterday, and with insights from commentators like Barrister Fru Johnson, Barrister Tim Besea, and SOS Sylvester Zama, we have taken a position that favors the strategic interest of Amazonia. As we wrap up this program, Amazonia this week with Third Party King, we are urging all Amazonians to consider making donations towards the media war and the efforts of ABC Amber TV. It is crucial at this time for the continuation of the fight for independence, and for every contribution that you make, it counts. Let us together support our cause and work towards achieving optimal success in wartime geopolitics. And the media, ABC Amber Television, plays an instrumental role. You can never ever overemphasize that. I want to say that it was a huge pleasure to be with you. As you're looking on our screen, you're seeing our payment platforms echoing. I'll leave you with that for now. Make sure that you're part of this winning strategy. Until next week, It's been Tapa the King. Have a beautiful night's sleep.
TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com.
Fellow Ambazonians, if you are in the United States of America, I just want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving Day. It all started in 1621. It was celebrated by 90 Americans, Native Americans, and they did that for 3 days. They just decided to come together to appreciate God or the land for the harvest. And since then, it has now become a national holiday, and it has maintained its character. At least we start celebrating it today. I can tell you throughout the weekend, up until Sunday, we will be celebrating. Today is a national holiday for the people of America, and all religions, though this is not a religious holiday, all religions have at least one form of thanksgiving or the other. Even the African religions, we thank God, we thank the God of whoever we call God. We thank Him the time like this. It's a time for us to celebrate achievement. It's a time for us to celebrate our values, our successes, our endowments, our lives, even just for being alive. That which God has given us that we appreciate. That is what we celebrate yearly. And I thank the nation of America for making it a national holiday. I consider this, and we should, as Ambazonians, consider this day for reflection. Even if you are not in the United States of America, consider this as a day to sit and reflect while you are celebrating this or that. There are few and there are many in certain circumstances, especially in Ambazonia, who have very little to celebrate, especially because of what they have been deprived of, what they have been denied of, their freedom, even their livelihood, their lives, their family, everything they were proud of. It's a time for us to remember beyond our personal achievements, especially in the United States. Let us think about those who have very little to celebrate, who have very little to give thanks for, and let us extend out of what God has done for us some mercies, some graces towards them. Let us extend our generosity. Let us take out of our table, out of our abundance that we celebrate, something towards those that have little. That's the best way to do this. Cut a portion of your turkey, whatever that represents, and make sure that you remember our Ambazonian Restoration Forces who are dying in the trenches for the freedom that they have been denied, and they are asking, when will this be over, so that they can thank God. Remember able-bodied Ambazonians, people of integrity and character, who have been incarcerated, and today they don't know when this will end. Think about them. Think about our children, our mothers, our people in their hundreds of thousands who are refugees spread across the world, in dungeons, hungry, with wounds, sick. Please, let's use this moment to reflect. You see, the word thanksgiving has two components, thanks and giving. And I was thinking about how to present this. It's like a cross. It's like a cross. It's a cross or a plus sign. That means there is the vertical and the horizontal. The vertical sign indicates that we should thank God, or the creator, or the giver of all things. And the horizontal is we must express our thanks also to the one on our left and the one on our right. Yes, that means to one another. Let's express this to one another. Let's express our thanksgiving Thanksgiving, we give thanks to God and we show love to our fellow men. Let us do this at this time. You can go to the ABC Amazonia ABC Club and donate. You can go to our AID, where we are able to collect a few dollars. Take part of your dish today. Take part of your sacrifices and your purchases. Some people are doing impulse purchases today, and you don't forget the essential. Take out of that abundance. Go to AID, our AID platform, and donate something that will reach those who are very little to celebrate. That's my short message. I encourage you to spread this message to everyone, whether you are in the Americas or not. Once again, happy Thanksgiving. Whatever I told you, I've already done it. God bless you.
Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com.
Fellow Ambazonians, if you are in the United States of America, I just want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving Day. It all started in 1621. It was celebrated by 90 Americans, Native Americans, and they did that for 3 days. They just decided to come together to appreciate God or the land for the harvests. And since then, it has now become a national holiday, and it has maintained its character. At least we start celebrating it today. I can tell you throughout the weekend, up until Sunday, we will be celebrating. Today is a national holiday for the people of America, and all religions, though this is not a religious holiday, all religions have at least one form of thanksgiving or the other. Even the African religions, we thank God. We thank the God of whoever we call God. We thank Him the time like this. It's a time for us to celebrate achievement. It's a time for us to celebrate our values, our successes, our endowments, our lives, even just for being alive. That which God has given us that we appreciate. That is what we celebrate yearly. And I thank the nation of America for making it a national holiday. I consider this, and we should, as Ambazonians, consider this day for reflection. Even if you are not in the United States of America, consider this as a day to sit and reflect while you are celebrating this or that. There are few, and there are many in certain circumstances, especially in Ambazonia, who have very little to celebrate, especially because of what they have been deprived of, what they have been denied of, their freedom, even their livelihood, their lives, their family, everything they were proud of. It's a time for us to remember beyond our personal achievements, especially in the United States. Just think about those who have very little to celebrate, who have very little to give thanks for. And let us extend out of what God has done for us some mercies, some graces towards them. Let us extend our generosity. Let us take out of our table, out of our abundance that we celebrate, something towards those that have little. That's the best way to do this. Cut a portion of your turkey, whatever that represents, and make sure that you remember our Ambazonian restoration forces who are dying in the trenches for the freedom that they have been denied. And they are asking, when will this be over, so that they can thank God. Remember able-bodied Ambazonians, people of integrity and character, who have been incarcerated, and today they don't know when this will end. Think about them. Think about our children, our mothers, our people in their hundreds of thousands who are refugees spread across the world, in dungeons, hungry, with wounds, sick. Please, let's use this moment to reflect. You see, the word thanksgiving has two components, thanks and giving. And I was thinking about how to present this. It's like a cross. It's like a cross. It's a cross or a plus sign. That means there is the vertical and the horizontal. The vertical sign indicates that we should thank God, or the creator, or the giver of all things. And the horizontal is we must express our thanks also to the one on our left and the one on our right. Yes, that means to one another. Let's express this to one another. Let's express our thanksgiving. We give thanks to God, and we show love to our fellow men. Let us do this at this time. You can go to the ABC Ambazonia ABC Club and donate. You can go to our AID, where we are able to collect a few dollars. Take part of your dish today. Take part of your sacrifices and your purchases. Some people are doing impulse purchases today, and you don't forget the essential. Take out of that abundance. Go to AID, our AID platform, and donate something that will reach those who have very little to celebrate. That's my short message. I encourage you to spread this message to everyone, whether you are in the Americas or not. Once again, happy Thanksgiving. Whatever I told you, I've already done it. God bless you.
Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcamber